Okay. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing today? Thank you all. Oh my goodness. Just right out of the gate, we got a bunch of stuff. Thank you, Nightmare Taco, bringing it in again. Thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to 2 Witch Hakte, Asphyxia 88, Soonjin, Paradoxical Peace. Thank you, Cooley, for following, Nick Q112, and Swain402. Thank you very much for 4 months. Goodness. Audio is back. Audio should be up. Yes. Sorry, everybody. I was getting... let me actually adjust the camera a little bit. I was adjusting my, oh god, I look terrible. It's okay. I am still a little sicky. And my hair looks awful today. My hair is so, I'm so over my hair currently. I don't wanna be like one of those girls, but like I am so, bleh. Thank you very much. Stickers are working again. Good on the stickers. Although I don't know what happened. It seems like everything got reset because I've had to redo so many things. I'm gonna fit that to screen. There we go. Oh, yeah, very sorry. No, my hair is not styling. I have a patch of fried hair that's in the middle of my head from going blonde. It's just in the middle and it bugs me so damn much. But let me actually pull up what we're looking at. No. Okay. So I have a couple things today. Like I said, I'm still a sickie, and I'm getting ready for I've talked about this before, I've talked about it on stream, and I mentioned it in the stream announcement, but this is going to be my last stream for a week, because when I am, on Tuesday, I am going on let's call it a business trip, where I will be doing another undercover assignment. I'm gonna have to change the chat box to... Alright, changing the chat box to box. Oh no, yeah, we're watching Benny Boy. Although Wuggles, can we talk about the Trump sneaker drop? Yeah. We can talk about the Trump sneaker drop, cause dude, that shit was embarrassing. Washington Post with a killing it on the headline game. Washington Post. There, it's a little bit better for my hair. God, see, I still have this poof. I still have the poof. Okay. There we go. That'll work. Glasses. Alrighty. How's everybody doing today, by the way? Like, before we get right into business. I got some hot tea that is too hot right now. Pretty good. I got some chocolate. Chocolate is good. been playing Tears of the Kingdom all day. I wish I was playing video games all day. I've been... After my Jewish question essay, the anti-Semitism essay came out, like, kind of every other day I've been like, okay, I'm going to get this work done. Then I'm just going to take the rest of the day off and just, like, relax and play video games. And that is not materialized, and it's not going to for another week. At least, if not more. But we need to talk about this because Washington Post killing it with this headline. Trump facing multi-million-dollar fines is now selling $399 shoes. For most of his presidential campaign, Donald Trump has blamed President Biden for making everyday items unaffordable. God, okay, this is shady. This is so shady. I love it. Dark Excalibur, thank you for resubscribing for 5 months in a row. Woke up just in time for the stream. I am so glad you woke up just in time for the stream. Stream. There we go. The former president for his party is now selling $399 shoes. This was so surreal because when I initially saw this, I saw somebody saying, like, spreading around like a GIF or a video on Twitter of a guy holding up a Trump sign at a sneaker convention. And I was like, okay, so there's just, I thought there was just a weirdo at a sneaker convention doing the thing that a lot of Trumpers like to do, which is just being like, oh, you know, representing the brand everywhere. But then I saw, like, hours later, and it stunned me. It put me in, like, a legitimate stun lock. Like, I couldn't process what I was seeing when Trump appeared at SneakerCon and introduced his latest business venture, high top shoes and sneakers. I've wanted to do this for a long time, Trump said about his shoe line. I think it's going to be a big success. Which, like, here's the thing. This is just the latest in a long trend of stuff that Trump has tried to get in on the ground floor of because it is a popular, booming thing. Because he knows there are people who spend money on it. Just like with NFTs. Just like with digital collectibles. Just like with physical memorabilia. He knows that there are people out there who spend a lot of money on it. So he's betting against his brand at this point that people will be willing to pony up $400 for these fucking shoes. I'm legitimately curious how good they are, because here's the thing. A lot of people have said they look ugly. Most people know, though, it's not necessarily about the shoe, it's about the fit. You know, it's about what you put with it. So they could be ugly, and I think they're fine, personally. But it's so... Like, I think they're fine. I hate that there's, like, a big T emblazoned on the side for Trump, which sucks. But other than that, I think they're fine. Aside from the infamous Make America Great Again red hats, the former president's lines of merchandise have included shirts sporting his mugshot, as well as Trump-branded vodka, cologne, shirts, ties, even furniture. According to a website dedicated solely to Trump sneakers, the shoe line is super limited. Only 1,000 pairs are being sold. This is great. The small print on the side notes that the shoes are not designed, manufactured, distributed, or sold by Trump, but rather a company identified as 45 Footwear. 45 Footwear, which uses Trump's name and likeness under a license agreement. How do you make Trump's shoes, call yourself 45 Footwear, which is an obvious reference to the fact that he's the 45th president, and then claim to not be political? That's bonkers. The former president seemed to imply that the shoes are part of an effort to reach younger voters. Hello, fellow kids. This is real hello, fellow kids hours out here. God, that's good. I mean, I'm willing to bet a sizable portion of his voter base has died off since A, the last election he won, B, COVID. Oh, you are fine, cat. Ugh. Could you imagine if his shoes had his blood in it? No, I bet if Trump sold blood shoes, they would, the conservatives who were like, oh, this is satanic with the Lil Nas X stuff would change their tune real quick. Real quick. Yep, this is right after... Came a day after a judge in New York ordered him to pay about $350 million in penalties, plus interest following a civil fraud trial, which he was found to have carried out a years-long scheme to use false financial data to borrow money at lower rates, alongside his adult sons and other top executives at the Trump Organization. While the former president is not cash-strapped, Bloomberg Billionaires Index estimate him at $3.1 billion with about $600 million in cash. That fine could consume more than half of those assets, potentially prompting the company to sell more real estate if it wants to free up cash. Biden's campaign mocked Trump for his shoe venture. Donald Trump showing up to hawk bootleg off-whites is the closest he'll get to any Air Force Ones ever again for the rest of his life, said Biden campaign spokesman Michael Tyler. That's a great quote, but also that whoever the social media intern who is like really hip to the memes and is responsible for all the like dark Brandon shit that they've been posting was like, yo, we got to get a sneakerhead in here. Like, who here knows sneaks? Who here knows ball? And Michael Tyler was probably like, yo, I got you. All right, we need a sick burn for Trump. And he was like, this is my time to shine, baby. I've been holding in this Air Force One burn forever. That is very dumb and very funny. Yeah, the Conservative Party is grifters all the way down. We're not gonna watch the Vosh video. Don't worry. But first, I wanted to go through. I came across this. So I currently, and this is for a drag rat survivor. Thank you very much for following. And Aaron Thorne. Aaron Thorne Twitch. I was reading that. I'm like, is that? I thought that was Aaron Thorne Netwitch. Aaron Thorne, thank you very much for following. Nixie Chan, thank you very much for subscribing. I apologize. I'm in such unkempt appearance. I don't look super cute today. I'm still a sickie. No, but I wanted to talk about, I've been building up for a project that's coming up, and I'll talk about it more. But I've been building up a burner conservative Twitter account as a kind of experiment within an experiment. And again, this is all for a video that's upcoming, but I came across because I have been kind of sticking my fingers in all the different right-wing pies. I've been getting in a little bit with gender criticals, getting in a little bit with groypers, getting in a little bit with like rhinos and trad cats and all those people. And I came across this, first off, Substack, apparently big business. Everybody has a Substack in these spaces. But this one actually I didn't pay to read this, but I did subscribe, so I could read it. But I read like a sentence of this and how he did it. What I'm coming to realize is that there is an entire cottage industry on Substack for people who don't have the talent to like make YouTube videos, but also want to pretend like they know stuff and like draw connections and without actually, showing sources and things. And that's kind of what we have here, I think. I haven't read a lot of it, but I feel like I know what I'm gonna read, because it seems like they're angling towards... Okay, hang on. My sound wave is about to fall over. Okay. I had to rescue my little buddy. You're just going to sit right there. Yes. There you go, friend. It seems like they're angling towards saying non-binary is a conspiracy, and the way it's being spread is a conspiracy, which is not new. Like, a lot of people have said that, but I'm curious how they justify it. Action Terminal, thank you very much. And Crispy Fried, thank you for resubbing. I heard the stream is woke. This stream is the wokest. The most woke stream you're going to find. No woker stream than this. Somebody said Soundwave is the coolest fella. He is. I love my vintage Soundwave. This is my 1983 Soundwave. But I love the transformation. I actually think it's a really fun transformation, but I'm so worried about the legs because they were not made with clearance in mind. And I'm really worried about the 40-year-old plastic breaking against the metal peg. But yeah, I love my Soundwave. Squid Pope. Oh god, I wish the Groypers would start purging themselves. Angry Goose. Groyper should be a slur. I think people should be literally ashamed. What is that? Juliana, thank you very much for the sticker. Doing me a scratch. Scratching my, giving the comment section a scratch. Thank you very much, Storm of Karin. Storm over Kryn. There we go. I got it. Oh, I got a kitty scratch that's hurting me. Okay. Let's go into this, because then after this we will go into the Benny Johnson thing, because I wanna chill for a little bit. Are we already on a hype train? Crane was taken non-binary as a conspiracy made up by the government to sell genders. So true, you caught me. Yeah, Enchanted Nightshade, I did do clean it up. And thank you very much, Nightmare Taco. Nightmare Taco, did you just pop off with a bunch of other... God damn it, Nightmare Taco. Oh my gosh, thank you very much, Nightmare Taco and Nixie Chan, for gifting a tier 1. Nixie Chan, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Tokumin, 24 Luck Organ, Nisha Vargas, Screw Bucket, Patch of Clover, Eb Fritz, Not a Gutter Rat, Goof Bell Loves You, Scuzz Bopper, Dr. James Kirk, and the Nightmare Taco, thank you for bottom of display. I am Vel Chris, I am Evil Chris, Embers Fire, Cody Culp, 100 Becks, Nixie Chan, thank you for just a bottom 98, Black Sparrow, That Weird Feeling, Take Hero, and Karen Hall. And then Salty Llama, thank you very much. Okay, give me a second. Okay, I think we are on a hype train now. Hype train level 4, good lord. I haven't even started going into the main thing we're here for. Salty Llama, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Stealing, Gregory Ah, Cooley, Ashen Charcoal, and Katya. Katya. And then Nightmare Jesus Christ. You guys. Fuck. Okay. Nightmare Taco, thank you for Drag Rat Survivor, Box Person, Ko the Pow Card Fan, and Zellerin, and McCrab. Salty Llama, thank you for Cheeseville, Rectum Boost, Link May 31, Yeetus Deletus, Gammy Cake. And thank you, Boxing Cat SWL. Thank you, JDB. I'm silencing the notifications. I'm silencing the notifications. No more bone. Oh, good Lord in heaven. I think we are up to Hype Train level 7. Squid Pope, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Pixel Moth. Orion's Mistake, Lay on Stage, Mittens, and Miles of Kyles. Juliana, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Mugo's Moon, Valerie Plushie, and Puffinjo. Splintered Orion, thank you for following. Okay, now we're getting into the thing. We're getting into the thing, god damn it. Thank you very much, Juliana, for or Squid Pope, thank you very much for popping the sticker. Okay, yeah, I've silenced the desktop audio. but it's going to be a minute of seeing Rogue pop on the screen over and over. All right. So let's go into, from Malcolm Richard Clark, The Secret Gender Files. Who is driving the non-binary bandwagon? The craze for identifying as non-binary may seem ridiculous, and it is, but behind the silliness, there are some seriously dangerous forces at work. How dangerous are we feeling here? Do we think we're going to get... My dog is deciding to chew her ball right into the mic. Thank you, dog. How dangerous are we feeling here? Are we thinking Soros? Are we thinking Illuminati? Are we thinking... do they use the word cult to describe trans people? I think there's probably a good chance. Thank you, Nightmare Taco, for the 1,000 bits. I think we have reached a new all-time hype train high of level 8. Good God. Patrick Clover, Starship Troopers does work as satire. I feel the fact that fascists literally don't understand it's satirical just validates how much it works as satire. Like, satire so often does not, it's the same thing with Fight Club and American Psycho. Like, the ideas that people look at those characters despite the intentions of the author and go, yeah, that's good, that's aspirational. It's like, that doesn't change the fact that it is satire and making fun of those people. Yeah, do you think... I think we might see a Soros in here. All right, let me... Thank you, Granny from Narnia. Or thank you, Swain, for cheering 100. Thank you for popping up with the goats, everybody in chat. Some things make less sense the more you study them. The S&P's finances, Joe Biden's sentences, and being non-binary. Oh, already coming out swinging with zingers. Clowning on Biden. Got him. The non-binaries say they identify as neither men nor women. When you ask what they mean by this, it usually boils down, after some quivery lip boo-hoo, to men saying they like to be kind of feminine sometimes, and women saying they often kind of don't. That's not accurate at all. I'm willing to bet he's talked to nobody of like consequence. Like maybe somebody in a Twitter comment section. Good Lord, Nightmare Taco, don't waste all of your money on me. Nightmare Taco. Oh, we're probably we gotta be getting close to Hype Train level 9 at this point. Right? Like... Nightmare Taco, thank you for gifting a tier sum to Cosmid, Dr. Fanny Pack, Scott, Candy and Blank, Nixie Chan, you little rapscallion. Nixie Chan, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to Minima, Rattle Feathers, John Chitters, Somniote, Nightmare Taco, good God, I was in the middle of reading them. We have reached Hype Train level 10. I never would have thought this in all my years. It's a rich-off. At what point is everyone in chat going to be subbed? I feel like you have to get here pretty soon, right? Nightmare Taco, thank you for Nervous Cowboy, Raku Jaku, Kegeo. That was my favorite. I loved that game on the Xbox 360 from Bungie. Is that... No, Rare. That's a cameo joke. Anyway. Cinema Cynic, God Silliest Clown, Dragon Legit, Switch Ad Victim, EXE, Darks End, Techno Sarah, Antler Jones, Nixie Chan, thank you for John Shid. Who? Nightmare Taco, thank you for Nervous Count. Nope. Yep. Yes. Okay. Nixie Chan, thank you for Somniote. Elena Farrell. Oh, is Elena Farrell actually in here? Oh my God. Luna Seon, Alex the Wolf Pup, Limbed, Shoe Black, K Snicket, Oxpecker, Singing Reaper, Major Responsibility, Me P Onomatopoeia, Posty 1224, Nightmare Taco, thank you for Cosmin, Dr. Fanny Pack, Scott, Candy and Black, Non-Toxic 666, Bleach, Splintered Orion, Card Nerdy, Ophelia 226, Huffington the Only, and Blood Card Beefy. And then Nightmare Taco, thank you for Waffle Cakes, Captain Lasagna, Swinging Bee, Lucidique 419, Ender Escargot, Queer Lullaby, Golbruth, Ding Dang Dimples, Killer Evman, J-Dub, Salty Llama, Nixie Chan, thank you for Enchanted Nightshade. Salty Llama, thank you for Fry. I'm Boring Cat. I'm Boring Rat. Jezebel Pepper. Jezebel Pepper is a really good name. Okay, this is the last round I'm able to read. Reddit Gamer, Verdant Eclipse, Carrot Convoy, Battle Axe Boogie, Baked Beans, Kobold, Wiscontro. Thank you for all of them. And then I'll read these last ones from Nixie Chan, then we gotta get to the thing. I know, sorry YouTube chat. Nixie Chan. We are at level. I'm never gonna crack this. Like I'm never gonna top this for my stream hype train. Nixie Chan, thank you for Muya Bunny, Bog Punk, Space Bird, Cool Breeze Enyo, and Pudding Deficient. Pudding Deficient is another really great name. And Rabbit Fang, thank you very much for gifting a tier 1 sub to An Angry Goose. And then I think we are, yes, I think that's all for now. Nightmare Taco, I'm not doing those ones. We have articles to read. I have articles to read. I know, 100 bucks. I said I'm done. I'm done. Because I've spent so much time. I've spent like 10 minutes already reading these. I appreciate you guys so much. My goodness. I think, are we up to level 11 yet? 838, 838. How are you guys still? I can't even imagine. Thank you guys. Good God. Yeah, I forgot what I was even saying. Yeah, Angry Goose, you can finally post goats. Everybody can post goats. I mean, almost I feel like everybody in Twitch chat can post ghosts. Post goats. Hell yeah, pop off with the goats in chat. We love our goats. I have my, I think it's behind me. My goats back here. I got my goats. This is my Emma Thorne goat. Right back here. I have the Emma Thorne Baffy, and then my other goat, and then I have another one somewhere too. And actually, I should bring my other Baffy over here. Thank you, Nightmare Taco, for another 1,000. Dog. Thank you, Salty Llama and Nixie Chan. Even though you know I'm not going to read those names now, it's just too much. We got to level 12. Level 12. It's dang nonsense. George Soros himself. Yeah, no, this is... You guys are on level 14, so it hasn't even loaded that far for me then. Good lord. Okay, yeah, so but my activity feed is still loading then. Yeah, currently we the leaderboard is Salty Llama with 70, Nightmare Taco with 65, Chrissy Fried with 20, and the Nixie Chan. That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. Oh no, I guess that is. Nixie Chan, you've given so much more than that though. Weird. Oh, that's a different leaderboard? Okay. Somebody give Scred05 a sub. They want one, so they can pop off with the goats in the chat too. Nightmare Taco, thank you very much for everybody. Doggo, what is he doing? Dog, why are you doing that right in my lap? That was gross. That was gross. Brother Johnny, free Palestine from Netanyahu and Hamas. Based. Are there... I have no idea. Well, I guess there's 91 viewers in the chat right now. Or on Twitch. There's 300 on YouTube. So I guess people are probably... Yeah, Enchanted Nightshade. Lady is slurping. You be good. Sit. Chill. Chill for a second. Thank you. All right. Tell me your profession. I want to shower cool streamers with money. Spaceway Digital free Palestine from misinformation. Yes. Unironically, yes. Okay. Oh, I love this. So they're already doing like gender essentialism by saying, like, which is already proven untrue by people like this, because as we saw in the last week, as soon as Kristen Stewart did a vaguely tomboyish photo shoot, they all freaked the hell out. Even though for years they've been like, oh, well, you know, butches and like women can still be tomboys and you can still have masculine lesbians without forcing them to be trans masc, which is true, you can. And now Kat wants to join the party. Hello. Dude, everybody getting on the... Hello, hello, okay, hello. This is just, this... Hello. I love you. This stream is already off to a great start. Kat, okay, okay. We're just, okay, you're just... This is not comfortable for me. Okay. What are we at now? We gotta be at like level 15 or something, right? Cat, you're so, she is so purry. Ah, gotcha. Look at this cat right now, just rubbing her face all over me, trying to get snuggles. What are you doing? You're such a boog. I'm doing cat. I'm like busy and stuff right now. I love you. Yes, I do. We haven't even. Okay. Hype train complete at level 14. Good Lord in heaven. Thank you so much, guys. This is going to be ringing in my ears for the entire thing. Yeah, Mockingbird, if I did a subathon, I would be a millionaire with how generous the... Cat, are you trying to get on my shoulder? Okay, yes, you are. Cool, cool. Don't show your butt to the camera. I'm pretty sure that's against TOS. All right. Let go of me. There you go. I love you. What are you doing? You staying up or getting down? She's just gonna chill. She's just gonna chill on my chest. She won't let go. Yeah, no, she's fine. She's a baby. Ow, lady, ow, that hurt. You're okay, honey. Ow. You just chewed my finger when I went to reach for your ball. Ow. Fudge. Ow. I know. You're okay. You're okay. My dog knows when I'm in pain and when I say ow, and she immediately gets like all super lovey. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Now that that's out of the way. Sophitia of Hyrule, I love the Rogue gift. She's such a baddie. I love the 2000s XM News. What they did to Rogue is unforgivable. We've talked about, where last time we showed some of my Rogue photo shoot, at least, on Insta, I'm pretty sure. If not. Just because we're probably going to talk more about Rogue later. Just because of the Benny Johnson anti-woke stuff. Dead Nightmare Taco, I'm done until this time next year. I'll do double next year. You do whatever you feel is necessary. I appreciate it. You have done so much, and it is literally all appreciated. Thank you so much. I know I have some other pictures of my Rogue cosplay. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here's another picture of my Rogue cosplay. Here's my Gerudo Link. Yeah, Sophatia, did you not know I cosplayed Rogue? Yep, here is my Rogue cosplay for everybody who missed it last time we were talking. Oh yeah, I've done Rogue. Here's a whole bunch of my Rogue. Were there multiples of these? There's my Gerudo Link and my Gwen. I've done Morrigan. There's my Double Trouble. Toy Photography, Femboy Hooters. Yeah. I should upload. I guess I don't have that much of my cosplay on there. Anyway. Yes, back to that's a little gift for everybody for donating. Looking through my my old stuff. Yeah, Postmortem, that's my that is my Insta. Or no, it was my profile picture for a while. My Rogue one was. Oh, it is still on my Insta, I guess. But the one on my Twitch now is this one. Or my Twitter now is this one. Yes, all right. Non-binary. I was going to say communism, but non-binary conspiracy. When you point out some men have been camp and woman butch since time immemorial, non-binary guys tend to get aggressive while non-binary gals get sulky and say you're picking on them, which suggests this non-binary LARP may require some more thought. What do you... Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to say. Right here, what he's saying is when you point out to, like, a trans femme NB who's AMAB, that some men have always been camp, and when you point out to an NB AFAB that some women have always been butch, they get aggressive or sulky. The problem is that, like, he's already trying to, he's doing this thing that a lot of people do when they talk about non-binary people, and they put them in literally two boxes because they just, like, don't, I don't know if they can't process the idea of, like, non-linear gender representation, but they're literally what he's doing here is there are two groups and they're both just extension. What he is trying to say is that they're just extensions of other, like, gay archetypes, and that's not true at all. Yeah, Foxbat, I'm AMAB and butch. I have friends who are non-binary who are AFAB and femme. Like, we were just talking about this the other day. Screw Bucket, is it a little sexist that the author put the guys into the aggression box and the girls into the sulky moody box? I feel like that is the intention of what he's saying. A lot of these gender criticals are very essentialist about it. If like me, you prefer to identify as non-lunatic, you might be tempted to dismiss the whole phenomenon as a passing fad. After all, it bears many of the hallmarks of previous fads, like Tamagotchi. This might be one of the most anecdotal examples I've ever seen. Over 70 million teenagers bought a glorified keyring with a miniature screen. The UK schools eventually banned them. Okay, so... my man's out here trying to, like, say people's gender identity, which has always been a thing, is on the level of, like, Tamagotchi and Pokemon and Digimon. Wow, that's bonkers. They promote it along with multinational corporations, politicians, and medical institutions run by men and women who should know better. Could it be? Could it be? Could it be? Just let me. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Could it be that they know more than you about gender identity and studying it and what might be best for kids and representation? Could it be? I'm just throwing it out there. I know that's a crazy idea, but the irony is no one can agree on exactly what non-binary means. That's like almost part of the point. It was that gender means different things to different people, and people are going to fall outside of the prescribed box that you want to put them in. This is just like cope. It often seems no more than a new and more pretentious way to bang on about being trans. More pretentious. Where the boundary lies between the two, or even if there is one, is unclear. On the one hand, the huge American LGBTQ plus charity, the Trevor Project, insists it's important to note that not all non-binary folks identify as trans. This is true. Other lobby groups, such as UK's LGBT Foundation, argue non-binary fits under the so-called trans umbrella. I would say, personally, this is Jordan speaking, I would say it does fit under the trans umbrella. I feel that as non-binary becomes more of a, I want to say a known quantity, but as it becomes more generally accepted that some people are just going to be different, it behooves, I understand why people don't want to, like, if you are non-binary, you do not automatically call yourself trans because, you know, that might mean people think of you, okay, you are a trans man, you are a trans woman. But I think under the trans umbrella is the correct term, personally, this is my 2 cents, because you are identifying inherently as something other than what you were assigned at birth by society. Like, you are outside of that box with other trans people. And non-binary is also an umbrella term, too. Once upon a time, gross, dude. God. Once upon a time, trans meant just transvestites. In other words, blokes who looked like truck drivers in lingerie or transsexuals. Mainly blokes who got rid of their knobs and grew moobs in order to organize feminism better. God, this guy is so like. Here's the thing I don't like about going into gender critical spaces is they have literally no respect. Like they literally see other like trans people as just subhuman. Like they will do anything they can to just express the most derision and hate possible. Like Canethius, thank you for giving $1.49. A purple cat. Who's a purple cat? Let me see if there's any other. Good God, Salty Llama. Yeah, they're still popping off. My last subs were like 10 minutes ago, and they're still going. So I'm gonna be listening to this for a minute. I've silenced, for now. I have silenced the. I might have to silence the box if we go into watching and it's still playing. Yeah, it's just gross. Like, how. It also like fully undermines any kind of grander sociological or scientific point you're trying to make here when you just resort to insulting other people, and not just insulting people, showing a very basic lack of understanding of the history of trans people and how trans people actually are. Like you expect me to take you seriously, what you were saying seriously. You are treating this as like a real expose when all you're doing is launching completely unnecessary insults and completely misunderstanding, on purpose, mind you, trans people in general. Like, blokes who looked like truck drivers in lingerie, or transsexuals, mainly blokes who got rid of their knobs and grew moobs. It has always been the case that trans women, trans femmes, some of them do get the surgery, some of them don't. It's a complete variance. Like, it is not this one or the other thing. Truck drivers in lingerie. Like, I think he's trying to talk about cross-dressers, which, again, is a totally different thing, but if these people were forced to learn nuance, it would undermine all of their points and all of their arguments. Dominic Maslik, we are looking at, on YouTube, asking what's going on here. We are looking at gender-critical screeds about why non-binary is like a big fad. Either way, the word trans implied a transition from one gender or sex to the other. Yeah. The problem with that, by the 1990s, an uncomfortable truth had to be faced by the trans lobby. There was not a fucking trans lobby in 1990. Fuck off. Many of those who used hormones and surgery to try to physically change their sex were disappointed by the results. Could it be because there weren't a lot of people out there doing it? That doctors were vastly inexperienced? Could be. At best, most women ended up looking like miniature small-boned men, while most men looked like galumphing, big-jawed, deep-voiced women with huge hands and feet the size of Coco the Clown. This is very plainly just not true. Like, straight up. You can go right now into trans femme spaces on Twitter and see 30 and 40-year-olds who have transitioned and look transitioned in their 30s and 40s and look AFAB. Like, this is just massive cope. All of this is massive cope. It's also fucking wild when you literally have, not Blair White, but you have, God, what's his name? The grandpa turf, Buck Angel, who is like, as evil and desperate of a grifter as he is, still looks like nobody would look at Buck Angel walking down the street and go like, that's a woman. Like, you out of your nut? Come on. That's why trans people who looked in the mirror after their transition and saw their old sex body and face staring back at them began to reach for a new vocabulary. That's called dysphoria. That's not what happens generally. Like, this is so deeply, it's deeply annoying. Buck, yeah. Lego Panda, I literally just watched Jesse Gender's video on him earlier today. Is it a new one? A new video from Jesse? I need to go check that out. That's why trans people, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait, no. In the mid-90s, activist Ricky Wilkins, who had earlier co-founded Camp Trans, an annual protest against the exclusion of trans women from the Women-Only Michigan Women's Music Festival, coined a new term to describe himself. Genderqueer was born. Based! A slew of new identities and neologisms soon followed, such as agender, bigender, gemigender, or gender fluid, all of which mean different things. In the noughties, naughty, that's... See, I know he's British because he says dumb bullshit like this. I'm going to talk like a real proper human being. In the aughts, non-binary was adopted to encompass them all. The fact that non-binary was effectively an umbrella sheltering under another umbrella, the very definition of pointless, that's not true. That's just how classification works. That's just how, again, evolving nuance around a point of understanding. That's like somebody going and saying, okay, well, this bird is a different species of this bird. And this one is actually a subspecies of the two. And this one is actually a natural predator to this bird. And you go, well, they're all fucking birds, so who cares? It's like the people who study them, the people who want to know more about it, the people who want to understand the phenomenon more. That's why science is constantly evolving. That's why people constantly come up with these categories. Because we understand that people aren't always going to fit in them, which is why people are non-binary. You have to try to be this ignorant. Yes, Screwbucket, yeah. Screwbucket, it's so easy to Google trans people and find people that don't just pass, but you can never imagine being their assigned gender. The only way you can argue how poorly this works for trans people is the vast majority of the time is willing ignorance. Yeah, it's literally just, and this is where it comes back to, they often tie in cross-dressers and sissies and with trans people and people who undergo hormone therapy, because to them, the image of actual fetishists like sissies, that's a fetish. That's not an identity, it's a fetish, is the same as somebody who lives their life as a trans person, even though they aren't the same at all. Like, the way that they are practiced, the way they're understood, are completely different from one another. We should never forget that. Oh, I'm almost done with this article. What the? Oh, wait, no, I need to. Oh, I gotta pay to read the rest of it? Oh, but I want to know who's behind it. No, Mockingbird, sissy is not just an insult. Sissy is, God. I'd tell you to Google it, but it would just come up with sissy porn. How do I even talk about it? Anybody who's been on Grindr knows what I'm talking about. Sissy is a term most often used to describe straight, cis-presenting men, usually late 20s to 50s, 60s. No, it's not a femboy at all. Who enjoy... It's so annoying because it gets crossed over with trans people, which is why so many trans people know about it. They enjoy essentially being force-femmed. And that's part of it. But it is the feeling of being sexually feminized, which leads to, there's a lot of overlap in sissy communities and the fetishes around them. There's a lot of overlap with things like, God, how do I even talk about this? With things like, let's say, very racially tinged superiority fantasies. Stuff like that. Yeah, but it's not... It's more gross than just, like, feminization. Feminization doesn't really do a... Like I feel like there are sexy and cute ways to do that is still kinky and fun, but being a sissy really necessitates... It's very... I don't know, it's weird to talk about. It's very gooner, it's very porn-brained, it's very, like... Okay, Sissy Hypno is a meme, right? And Sissy Hypno is all about, like, you want to be a bimbo slut, you want to suck cock, you want to do all these other things. That's really the difference between, like, feminization, which can be just like, oh, you know, who's a good girl, like, that kind of stuff, versus what are, like, legitimately fetishists. And if that's your bag, whatever, that's fine. It is not, however, the same as being trans. It's just not. Like grown men who, when they are done having sex, still present as men, who might put on bras and panties that don't fit, who might put on bad makeup, that never take the time to learn how to actually make it look good, who might put on a wig, that is not the same as what a trans person goes through. It's not. Renner, is it a shame kink? It can be. I've seen it wrapped up in that. Again, here's the only thing. Post-mortem draws, I can just hear the despair in your voice. Yeah, that's because if any trans person has been on Grindr, you've seen these people. You know these people. Like they're fetishists. Like they're, hey. 100 Becks never. Hey, stop it. Stop it. You are fine. She's laying down right behind me. 100 Becks never follow somebody who unironically has a spade or BNWO. Yes, that is also tied up into it. That is a whole other, like, the weird racial mechanics of the Black New World Order stuff is so fucked and gross and weird. Like it's porn brain. It's porn brain fetishism, really, as what it is. Like that's what it is. And again, like that, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. Like there are differences. Here's the thing. There are overlaps, but still distinctions to be made between things like gooning, degradation, feminizing, sissying, like all of that stuff can be distinct. You can like one without liking the other, but they run in so many of the same circles. Yeah, Kobold, the race stuff is so gross. I've had people like try and hit on me with that shit on Grindr, and it's just no. Foxpat, okay, serious question. Is gooning just edging? So here's actually a fascinating thing. I know I've recommended the podcast before. Not Knowledge Fight. QAnon Anonymous, their patron-only feed, they have a number of like spin-off shows that they do, and one of them lately has been, it's called Perverts. And it goes through, it's so fascinating the way they lay everything out. I love, it should be no surprise that I love deep research. And so like it's looking at all of these subsections and subcategories of different porn, different sex movements, different like just groups online who engage in those things. And they had a fascinating one on gooning. And it is weird because it is this like, gooning is not just edging. Edging is one thing. Gooning is specifically it is an attempt at overload. And I do not think it's healthy. Like, I understand why people find it, like, hot or fun to do. But when you see people... And I can't recommend going and looking this stuff up. But, like, imagine, if you will... when people talk about, like, their goon cave or whatever... You have people who will literally spend hours a day masturbating. But instead of, like, you know, a normal person... Or, you know, there are asexual people. There are people who don't masturbate. But, like, for when people do masturbate, the average person who masturbates, and I phrase that poorly. I don't want to say that if you're asexual, you don't masturbate, you're not normal. That's not what I mean at all. But for the average person who does masturbate, generally speaking, I feel like you might, you know, if you don't have anything going on, you might take a little extra time. You might watch a full porn. Like, you might, you know, relax, enjoy yourself. Why not? But generally speaking, I feel a lot of people do it on the computer, on their phone, on the TV, and then they're done. You know? Like, you do the thing, you're done. It's all good. Gooning is like if you have 4 screens in front of you, and each screen has a video specially made for gooning. That in that video is a constantly flashing barrage of, like, let's say it's like a 3x3 grid. So you're looking at roughly 12 different screens that are constantly flashing. And the thing about gooning is that it is not gentle porn. It is like really deep, hardcore stuff. It's like Clockwork Oranging yourself, essentially. Is the way people talk about it. How much people actually do that shit for themselves, I don't know. I don't really care to know. But I still think it's not, like, I don't think that's a healthy way to really, personally, I don't think that's a healthy way to, like, interact with sexuality. At least not for me. If you can find a way, I think there can be a balance in anything, right? Like, I know people who have had bad relationships that have been soured because the other person was so, like, addicted to watching porn that their partner couldn't get off. Their partner couldn't even get hard without watching porn. Like, that's a problem, right? That's the kind of problem I think something like gooning has the potential to create for somebody. Because at the end of the day, like, porn sells a fantasy, and I feel like a lot of people need to do better at recognizing that. Like, it is what you are watching isn't real. You know, it's not going to happen to you. And I think driving that kind of stuff to extremity, especially for a very young audience, for people just coming into their sexuality, I think that's a big problem, because, you know, and we've seen it in the last like 2 decades as porn has become more easily and readily accessible, where people expect things of their partner that their partners are just not ready to do. And I think that's fucked up. Anyway, sorry. Comparing it to the Ludovico technique. It's true. No, yeah, Mockingbird. It's not just edging. Like, edging is just like, I'm just not gonna come. Like I know some people will do like edging sessions and edge for hours and stuff, but it's not really the same thing. Like, you could just watch one porn and then just be like, I'm not gonna come yet. I'm not gonna come yet. But gooning is like such a, it's in extremity to such a degree that I'm like, man, y'all need, here's the thing. I don't even believe in God, and y'all need Jesus. Like, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Mockingbird, this is when you know you should stop. Yeah. Screw Bucket, I think a big issue is that as mainstream and open as the concept of porn has become, we as a society aren't open to actually talking about kinks, porn, and healthy ways of consuming it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird position of being expected, but also not something you should ever discuss. You do. Yeah, like, and it's you'll notice it. It always struck me as weird, right? Because when you watch like sitcoms and stuff, guy characters will always talk about porn like it's the most normal thing in the world, but never anything like specific. Like, they'll talk about using porn, but not talk about specific kinks, specific categories and stuff. And if they do, it gets turned into a punchline, which is good comedy. However, I think subliminally jokes like that just reinforce that, like, oh, okay, everybody's doing this, but we shouldn't really talk about it. I don't want anybody to like think I'm weird for this one thing, which is, again, very funny, because when you look at the statistics of how many people watch porn and how many people are into certain categories, the idea that people are like ashamed for some of their I mean, don't get me wrong, some of their fetishes, there are some people who should be more ashamed. I'm gonna say that there's some people who should be more ashamed, just straight up. But like, yeah, people in the chat are saying something painfully generic like feet is the generic kink. Yeah, it's like that kind of thing is like, it has an entire category with billions of views on Pornhub. Billions with a B. The amount of people who have those kinks is seismic. So what good does it do to ostracize and make people feel like freaks for just liking what they like? I don't get it. Jordan kink shaming. I'll kink shame some stuff. Cute cotton candy cat. The only tag people are allowed to generally mention is MILF. Yeah. MILF is one of the other ones. Wuggles, The Right to Sex by Amiya Srinivasan goes into how sex expectations has manifested in serial killers as of late, theorizes hardcore porn and societal expectations warping already privileged men's conceptions of relationships and what they are owed. It's one of the first feminist theory books I read, and it was super interesting, and I'm not doing it justice. That sounds... So, I think there might be something to that, but... I say a big but, no pun intended, that I feel like it's almost like video games, like ultra-violent games, or fashionism on the internet, where it appeals to something that is already there, you know? Like, there are people who take part in BDSM, hardcore kink, who are the nicest people you could ever know, who are super into consent, who are super into making sure everybody's having a good time and happy, and they don't have any trauma or anything. That's just what they like. That's fine. But then there are also, anybody who's been in BDSM circles knows these people. There are people who do it because they like preying on others. They like that sensation of power. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at with like serial killers and stuff, is I think there is something in there that tickles at something that is already broken in them. I mean, screw bucket, that doesn't mean your closet, that doesn't mean anything. That means you like what you like. I fully disagree with this, like, because I think in, it's weird, right? Because in trans porn, by and large, and this is very weird to say, has been a majority, I would say, of positive representation for trans women. It has. Like, that is, for most people's media consumption, trans women have not been in very many mainstream television shows. There have been a couple. They have not been in very many mainstream video games, very many mainstream movies in big roles. But when you look at, and a lot of it has to do with how a lot of porn in a modern context has evolved to put the worker, like actually treat sex workers with respect more. And a lot of those companies have attracted trans models. And, well, Renaroo, it's because they're shown as women. They're shown as people. They are shown as incredibly feminine, attracted to by men, which is the way the world works, by cis men. They aren't ostracized, generally speaking. Like, a lot of even like trans reveal porn, there is not like a trans panic or anything to it. So it's created this weird thing where I think a lot of people do have their awakening, realizing like, oh shit, there are like different kinds of people out there. Am I one of them? I might be. I don't know. Could I be? I hope I'm not. Maybe I am. Who knows? All right, I will be right back. I'm going to go refill my tea. Well, I thought I was, but I wasn't because the tea is still not hot. Ow, wow. But at the same time, like, going back to what we were saying earlier, just because you like watching trans porn, that doesn't mean you're trans. Like, you can just like, you can like what you like. It doesn't have to mean anything. You know, it's like people talk about, oh, like if you like MILF porn, you want to fuck your mom. It's like, no, what? Stop it. Everybody thinks they're Freud when it comes down to sex and sexuality, and it's very annoying. Mockingbird, I got in an argument with friends because I said I was porn sex positive as long as there's consent, and they didn't like that because it's so stigmatized. Yeah, like I have gotten in arguments with partners who don't like porn because of the systems around it. And like you will find no argument from me that porn as a whole, it's been fucking bad for a really long time. However, there are so many movements and so many workers in the industry right now starting their own production companies, especially OnlyFans and Fansly. They have been huge booms to being able to take ownership as sex workers of their sexuality. All right. Anyway. That was a very long, weird tangent we went on. How do we even get there? I don't remember. We should never forget that. Oh, it's sissies, right. Despite the claim that being non-binary is a way of escaping society's obsession with the two sexes, it was actually invented as a way to escape the inadequacy of medical transition. That's not why it was invented! This is literally just anecdotal. This is entirely apocryphal. Like, he's just making the shit up. Like, he is saying that Ricky Wilkins coined the term because they were annoyed by seeing their face staring back at them and needed a way to, like, cope. Like, he's just drawing points where there are none. If it had remained as no more than that, the rest of us might have felt some empathy, viewing it as a sign of self-awareness. But God, what a shithead. If it had only stayed away from the mainstream, then the rest of us would have just taken pity on it. Unfortunately, an army of idiot celebrities jumped on the non-binary bandwagon and gave it a bad name. The singer Sam Smith was once an attractive young gay man. In his new non-binary guise, he resembles a well-fed sloth that's been trained to twerk, dressed in fishnets as a prank. Who cares? Like, Sam Smith put on a little weight. You know what? They're happy. I don't care. I don't care. Uh, 12feet.io. Nope, still gotta pay. Well, all right, what's the how much do I gotta pay? No, I don't think it would do archive.org because it's still new. All right, I will try the Wayback Machine for y'all. Nope, not available. I really want to know what, all right, I want to see how much it is. It's like $5. I get, you know, I don't know. $7 a month? And I gotta pay with card? Are you off your fucking nut? No. No. Hell no. God. Substack is nonsense, I tell you what. All right, I'm gonna go get my, sounds like my tea is ready, and then we're gonna watch 47 minutes of 3 white men in their 40s talk about how woke things are. No, yeah, Fox about I was talking about earlier. The Trump sneakers, like, they kind of bang. Like, they kind of bang. Dog, what are you doing? What? I just got a bunch of subs. I can afford it. No, I need to save my money. My my YouTube is not doing as hot this month as it was last month. All right, let's get in. This is going to be a little bit of a transition, so to speak. Speaking of transition, Doug, you were just napping. Why you gotta slosh your toy right next to my mic? You're such a gross little baby. I love you. I will do. This will do. It says no take. Only play. Set. Oh. Mockingbird, I think the infiltration will bring traffic. I think the infiltration will bring a lot of traffic. I hope. Snort. Johnson crickets. Yep. This is what we were going over Benny before. God, this smug smile and haircut is so gross. This is culture. It sure is something. My partner is she's texting me because she's been doing what I do and getting into like reclaiming Polly Pockets and such. And Monster High dolls. It's very fun. Oh, and then I do have a shitty video essay on wokeism later. Anyway, let's go. So we watched a video of Benny's the other day where he got, and you can go watch that stream because he got so much painfully wrong, like so wrong about a Bible verse he was quoting. Literally misattributed the story it was from, completely overlooked verses that contradicted it. Just a total ding dong. Which was in preparation for, yes, Stormfire Twister, you are correct. Benny Johnson is the guy who did, dog, I have a hot cup of tea here. You do not want to be under it, please. Gib, sit. He did the left camp meme. That was Benny Boy Johnson. And so he announced that he was doing the great. Check out the merch. Of course, there's merch. A drinking stream as part of a new series with the Critical Drinker, known internet dipshit, and Nerdrotic, known internet chud and dipshit. Raider Gaming, thank you very much. Seeing you live made my night. I appreciate that. So, I'm morbidly curious at this point. Like, that's all I can really say. Do you know anyone really well versed in Spider-Man lore? I want to learn as much as I can about Peter's relationships with Uncle Ben and Aunt May. I would go check out, go to Spider-Man Twitter. Like, go find some Spider-Man accounts on Twitter and ask those cats, because there are people out there with, like, an encyclopedic knowledge. Like, I was dipping into Spider-Man Twitter for a bit when I was doing my Spider-Man video. And I had read hundreds of essays, of issues for that, and I still felt like I hadn't even scratched the surface of what those cats know. All right, here we go. Are we ready? Because I'm sure this definitely won't be cringeworthy at all to watch these three grown-ass men talk about how the internet destroyed woke Hollywood. All right, let's take some bets. I don't have like a bingo card or anything, but let's take some bets. What do we think? Viewers at home, keep track. What do we think they're going to talk about? I think we're going to hear about X-Men 97. I think we're going to hear about The Last Jedi. Probably going to hear about Madam Web. That's still pretty new. Go out, go broke. What do we got? Maybe Starfield. Just talk about pronouns and such. And gosh, what? Batgirl. Oh, Dylan Mulvaney. Maybe. Oh, the Tomb Raider. Maybe the new Tomb Raider that just came out. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, I mean, like, we're literally starting with a look at a Disney lot, so, like, Disney is going to be their primary thing.
Disney was a bad idea. Being in Celebration and the belly of the beast of Disney is a...
Oh. Few things are worse than people who can't act doing skits. People who are not funny and can't act doing skits. So rough. So rough.
Worse idea. I've been 10 years sober, but this will drive a man to drink.
Go away now.
This is like early Channel Awesome levels of cringe. Thumb Warrior, my high school film projects have come back to haunt me. That's what it's feeling like. The Raider Gaming, thank you very much for using 100 biddies. Like, it just feels like... okay, well, we'll get through this. We'll get through this. We'll get through it. God, we're only 30 seconds in. Fuck.
Tough town, boys. What you have?
Irish coffee. Hold the Irish.
Everything.
It is so... like, none of them have any... like, unsurprisingly, none of them have any charisma. But, like, between them all, let me look up... How many followers do they have? Because Benjamin has 1.73 million subscribers. 1.73 million. Let's go. I think we're talking Critical Drinker. 1.93. Fuck. Ugh. And then Nerdrotic. Almost a million. Between them all, they have like, what, 4.5 million? For this just void of charisma. God damn.
Got the message. These men need no introduction.
This is okay. So their thing is that they're actually filming in like a bar. That's stupid.
The Great Nerdrotics.
Hello.
And Critical Drinker.
All right.
And it's early in the morning, and we're drinking, boys.
Cheers
To that.
This is...
I had coffee.
What does it feel like to be on the winning side of a culture war? Did you ever expect that?
What the fuck? I'm still sick, so I have like a tickle in my throat that makes it worth when I laugh. Coming out swinging. I'm getting all red too. Fuck, man. Benny Johnson with these guys who spend their days whining and bitching and whinging, coping, seething, maulding about how everything they love is being turned woke and turned against them and it's not what they wanted. And Benny just opens with a strong, how does it feel to be winners? Damn. God, I wish I had the unearned patience of him. Unearned confidence. I don't know why I said patience. I'm lacking patience right now is probably why. Fucking man.
Because based on the numbers, and based on the data, and based on the scoreboard, you boys are on the winning side of the culture war.
In
and these
fucking
multinational
world?
trillion-dollar corporations...
Okay, when you are saying to two YouTubers, You guys are on the winning side of the culture war. Against multinational trillion-dollar corporations. Your words. I'm going to say the multinational trillion-dollar corporations probably doing okay. I feel like this is a war that the multinational trillion-dollar corporations are kind of completely unaware of.
Are losing.
In what?
I guess I always figured it would turn.
Like, they're... This is so wild to me. He's just saying shit. He's just saying shit.
And eventually, just when the money ran out, because however much they might believe in their messaging or their political causes, ultimately they can't keep making stuff if they don't have money anymore. And they can only sustain so many flops, so many failures.
Let me look something up real quick. What are the let's look up, oh geez, yeah, let's just go 2023. Because everybody likes to say go woke, go broke, right? Let's look up top grossing. Okay, top grossing movies of 2023. Number one films. This isn't. Wakanda Forever wasn't 2023. Was that 2022? Damn, already. All right, Wakanda Forever. I would say Wakanda Forever probably pretty woke. Probably pretty woke. Creed 3 topping the box office. I wanted more of the highest grossing. That's what I wanted. Oh, look at that, Barbie, bringing up the domestic gross of $600 million. A movie all about women and feminism. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, number 3, with almost $400 million domestic. The movie that everyone, Nerdrotic included, talked about. Nobody wants this woke version of Spider-Man. This is white replacement. It's taken out Peter Parker. Little Mermaid, the Black Little Mermaid, top 10 of the year. 300 million domestic, the one that everybody said was gonna go woke, go broke. How much are we talking against the, I realized that was, I do realize that was actually a disappointment financially compared to what they thought it would be. Yeah, 250 million compared to 600 million box office. That is not great. But that has more to do with Disney's bad, like, financial management than it does the fact that it still made $600 million at the box office. John Wick Champ. Sound of Freedom. Are you fucking kidding? Was Sound of Freedom really in the top 10 this year? Calendar gross. God damn, really? That's fucking wild. Huh. Let's look up 2022. I wouldn't be surprised if Sound of Freedom has all those prepaid tickets nobody claimed. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Goddamn, dude, Avatar really made $2 billion? What the fuck? Almost made $1 billion now. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. People were mad at the Batman. They said that was woke for Black Catwoman. Made $750 million, sorry. Thor Love and Thunder, another one, people, which is, I do want to say, not a good fucking movie. But another one people said was woke. So you'll notice the movies that they define as woke, even though, don't get me wrong, there's some bad movies out there. There's some bad movies. Madam Web, good example. But when a movie is good, it doesn't really matter if it's woke or not. It doesn't actually make it fail like they might want to say it does. Is what I'm saying here. Like, verifiably, Barbie was the #1 grossing movie last year. The fucking Barbie movie. The movie that everybody said well, everybody, all of these dorks said was going to be a big woke flop, and it was woke. It is one of the most woke films, woke by their definitions. And it made $1 billion worldwide. Like, anyway, carry on about shit you ding-dongs know nothing about.
Before they have to do something. And that's kind of what it feels like now. It's starting to see that turning point. And it's good to see. I mean, man, like, I just want to see them make good films again. Yeah. Good TV shows.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You want to see them make the things you want to see. You want to see them make things where all the white dudes are super handsome and awesome and flawless and badass. It's something I've noticed with the Suicide Squad discourse, where so many people were so mad that Arkham Batman got killed by Harley. The spoilers, this has been on Twitter. And everybody was just like, no, Arkham, like, Batman wouldn't fall like that. Like, Batman would beat them all up. Like, they are so against their heroes, and it's the same thing that happened with Last Jedi and Luke Skywalker. They're so against their heroes having any flaws because they've imprinted onto them so much that they need them to be flawless. Despite the fact that Arkham Batman, in every one of those games, gets taken for a chump at some point. Like in Arkham City, he gets basically kidnapped by Joker for a couple seconds before he has to jump out a window because there's a bomb. In Arkham Asylum, all of the Scarecrow missions are him being kidnapped, basically. Like, he gets tricked all the time. The idea that that's how he would die is not actually that hard of a leap, but again, they need their heroes to be perfect. The flaws they want them to have are like moral ambiguity and gray morality and not actually like tangible things that might cause them to fail in their quest.
Shows give us some good entertainment that lets us escape from the humdrum existence that a lot of us have. It's like, nice.
You have the
Thumb Warrior. It's symmetry. Joker kills Robin. Harley kills Batman. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
The Carl Weathers.
I had to pay tribute to the great man himself today.
R.I.P. Can we see? Can we see for the camera?
Oh, fuck you.
Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper.
I didn't have an Apollo Creed t-shirt to hand, so this will have to do.
God, that is so fucking...
There's Carl Weathers has been here, like in this room. There's multiple signed photos of him on the wall.
That is cool.
So we stand in the presence of glory.
I'm in a bar, and it's a bar that had Carl Weathers in it, so that's pretty good to me.
Tide is turning. I think we're on the side of common sense and truth, so that's always the winning side to me, whatever happens. We talked about it last night. The tide was turning a couple of years ago, and they got a false extension, during COVID, during the Summer of Love, those very peaceful riots when America was burning down.
So this really lays bare, if you've ever had any doubts about where people like Nerdrotic and the Critical Drinker and their political alignments lie, this is pretty much like they're just playing into open conspiracies right now about Antifa and burning down the country, which God is so. Oh, I hate when it's just such a misrepresentation of how the riots happened.
And Hollywood was rooting it on. After Hollywood had divided the nation through their scripts and their adult pretenders being idiots and demonizing half the country.
What the fuck are you even talking about?
They put that off for a couple years, which was 2019. Woke stuff was failing already. Terminator Dark Fate's a great example.
Okay.
You fucking I will slap Terminator Dark Fate right out your mouth, you asswipes. It's dickheads like this that made what is, and do not twist my words. Terminator Dark Fate is the third best Terminator movie. And there is no debate to be had about it. I like Salvation. I like 3. Genesis can fly off a ravine. But Dark Fate, legitimate banger of a film. Everybody I've said, go see that movie, they're like, fuck, that's a good movie. Hell yeah, it is. But because it had Sarah Connor, because it had a female Terminator in the lead, dick shits like these were like, oh, it's going to be woke.
It's like the worst subversion of an intellectual property you'll ever see personified in like the first 5 minutes.
Again, what? Okay, I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't watched Terminator and haven't seen Dark Fate. But again, what they're saying here is literally the argument I was talking about earlier with Luke Skywalker and Batman. They do not want the thing that they love, the thing that they grew up idolizing and identifying with. They cannot see it fail in any way. Because to them, that is betraying the concept of what they love, which is actually just a way to implant themselves into the story. That's what they loved. They didn't love any of the themes or any of the characters or how emotionally resonant it was or how any of that shit. They loved that they could see themselves as one of the characters. And then they felt robbed of that as an adult, grown-ass person.
They kill...
Hey, poisonous green strawberries.
John
John Connor in the first 5 minutes
I guess
with
they
the
spoiled it.
CGI de-aged Edward Furlong and it actually looked pretty good. The
She was
CGI
pretty good, yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, but then it destroys the Terminator franchise. That was
Actually, no, it doesn't. Like, for so many reasons. Because it shows that through the constant fumbles of humanity, even if Skynet is destroyed, there will always be another set of monsters that humanity will make to fight itself. That's the point. That's the through line. It's also, mind you, the only other movie, and I love Terminator, so don't fucking fight me on this. It's the only other movie in the Terminator timeline, in all the Terminator series, to take into account James Cameron's through lines of machines and humans being different in Terminator 1 as war machines. In Terminator 2, machines learning what it means to be human, and then continuing that trend in a fascinating way in Dark Fate. Everything important thematically from the first two movies is continued in that one. But one character is dead. And so that threw it all off for them. Sorry, I gotta stop
written
pausing
by
this,
James
but this is gonna
Cameron,
piss
by
me
the
off.
way. So it was already on its way out. Then, of course, we get the great reset happening over the next 2 years.
Unfucking believable.
But the
use
reason
word
they
great
extended
reset.
that, they extended that for 2 years. That's something that was naturally dying anyway. Now it's just gonna die harder, for lack of a better term. It's gonna go down in flames and cost them millions. And as Drinker was saying, it was only a matter of time.
Again, they're talking about just the idea of wokeism and woke movies. Barbie made $1 billion last year. The third highest grossing movie was the Spider-Man movie, where the two main characters... Actually, let's go off the whole list of main characters in Spider-Verse. You got Miles Morales, who's mixed, Jessica Drew, who's black, Gwen, who's a woman. Why am I not remembering his name? Hobie, black. Paviter, who is Indian, and Spider-Man 2099. Miguel O'Hara, who's Hispanic. And then you have Peter Parker, who's white. But that's the main cast of the movie. By every stretch of the definition, that's woke. An animated film with all that, number 3 at the box office for the fucking year. But sure, it's going down in flames. Yeah, and also Gwen is trans, so representation.
If you follow comic books, if you're a nerd for any amount of time, you would see like you're subverting everything. And you can't continue to subvert stories and expect to make money off them. They were already established. You can't subvert Luke Skywalker. You can't subvert Han Solo. You can't.
Again, listening, like they're laying, God, it's so, they're just laying it all out here. You can't subvert these things. When really, they're just giving those characters depth. Like, they are giving them an arc beyond, like, if these people had their way, the new Star Wars trilogy would have been 3 movies of Luke Skywalker just being a badass with no flaws. And they would have been boring as fuck. In fact, their perfect new Star Wars trilogy is literally the only thing I can think of that would be worse than what Rise of Skywalker did. Because at least that was slightly more interesting.
Try to erase Captain Kirk, which is what Paramount is trying to do right now. It's not going to win. That's Star Trek is Captain Kirk. Star Wars is Luke Skywalker.
That is a fucking wild thing to say. I hope Jesse isn't in the chat. That Star Trek is Captain Kirk. Dog, how many other Star Wars? How many other Star Trek shows have there been? Like put aside of obviously first thing that comes to anybody's head is Picard, right? Like Next Generation, TNG. Put that in a box for later. You've still got Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Voyager, Discovery, Strange New Worlds, the Kelvin timeline, which is arguably an entirely different Kirk. Like literally an entirely different Kirk. Like that Trek has been going since the 60s, decades and decades, over a half century. That's like saying Godzilla is black and white. The first two were. You can watch -1 in black and white, but it hasn't been that for a long time. Okay.
Skywalker and Han Solo, and it's not much after that, and they're finding that out, and they thought they could make their own stories for a modern audience that doesn't exist. The modern audience is the same as the old audience. We just like.
So you're saying that Star Wars can't make stories for a modern audience that doesn't exist? I don't know the numbers on those Disney Plus shows. I know viewership has been down on some of them, but like Mandalorian is a massive fucking property. Like massive within Star Wars. Like you can't tell me that people do not like Mandalorian. I don't believe it. I've seen too many fucking toys.
Good stuff.
Die Harder.
Yeah.
I think they actually made that movie with
They
Bruce
did.
Willis. I think that's
The sad thing is though that like
No, they did not. They made it's Die Hard. Die Hard 2, Die Harder, which is the subtitle, but there's not a movie called Die Hard. Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and A Good Day to Die Hard, which is so bad. Like what? Hey, what's up with the like that spate of old man movies? Nobody talks about this. In the mid 2000s, after Arnold came back to acting for a little bit, Stallone, Bruce Willis, like they all had movies again, and there was a couple of them like trying to bring back their old franchises in the worst ways possible. Like Good Day to Die Hard, terrible. Rambo Last Blood, huh. And here's the thing, I actually really like Live Free or Die Hard, banger. Timothy Olyphant, getting it. Rambo 4, banger. So good. They pushed it too hard.
whether or not the tide turns, the damage that's been done to all of these franchises is kind of irreparable, because we've now no longer got the ability to have a Star Wars movie with Luke, Han, and Leia in it.
Yes.
You know, the actors have passed away or they're too old now. We're not going to see another great Star Trek movie, and it's such a loss because
Why would we not see another great Star Trek movie? Like I have my issues with the Kelvin timeline and the way J.J. Abrams took that, but I just watched Star Trek 2007 with a partner who's never seen anything Star Trek, and I'm like, that movie is still damn good. Like, that is a damn good movie. Also, Sulu is gay in that. Pretty woke. Like, why can't they make a good, like, they're not gonna cast William Shatner. Leonard Nimoy is dead. What are you talking about? Some of these actors are too old. Like, they can't make a new movie with Carrie Fisher because she passed away. They can't make a movie with Harrison Ford because he will tell them to fuck themselves. Like, what are you talking about? That is true, Foxbat. Sulu has always been gay because of George Takei.
That time is now past, and we're not going to get it back.
Thumb
And
Warrior, exactly. Star Trek Beyond, good as hell, but Into Darkness trashed the reputation. It didn't make money. That bummed me out because I didn't see Into Darkness until it came out on Blu-ray. And when I saw, or not Into Darkness, Beyond. And when I saw Beyond, I was like, this fucking rips. Like, Idris Elba was bringing it. Hell yeah. Star Trek Beyond.
movies that they have made, these new Star Wars films,
Sorry.
they're never going to be undone. They can never be erased from history. And again, that's something.
Okay, look, if we're talking new Star Wars movies, I get some of them aren't great. I get that. Last Jedi is phenomenal. These guys aren't going to think so, but undoubtedly, how can you doubt the greatness of Rogue One? Like, I'm not going to say Solo, but Rogue One? Come on. Come on. And then also, I know these dorks didn't watch Andor. Legitimately one of the best written television political dramas I've seen in a long time. Since, like, the good seasons of House of Cards. Which I, obviously disavow now for obvious reasons. Yeah, no, Spacebird, these dudes reek of midlife crisis. Never gonna get old thing, want old thing. Yeah. And then also, if some enterprising YouTuber, I don't know who, but if somebody were to have, say, taken the Disney Plus Obi-Wan Kenobi show and edited it from more than 6 hours into a 2-ish hour film cut that made it a better viewing experience, some might say that counts as one of the new good Star Wars movies. Is that it? Are there not more? But that would be right here. And if you viewer would be interested in seeing the 2-hour video cut of Obi-Wan, this video might have a Google Drive link that allows you to download it at your own leisure. I'm just saying. There are people making better Star Wars movies. I'm one of them. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Do we want to watch the? I won't be that full of myself. Cobalt. Okay. Have you guys not seen my at least? Okay. I'll look it up on Twitter real quick. Yes, Salty Llama, self-promoting. Oh no, this is my other Twitter. No. Alright, it's fine. I'll look it up. Sorry, that's my burner Twitter I was talking about. Eagle PFP. Yep. Is there? Is it cooked? Seriously? God, everything is so shit on Twitter now. Like, it's so impossible to find anything. Like, I know what it is. I can't. Yeah, alright. Well, never mind. Fuck you, Twitter. Anyway, I completely re-edited the fight scenes to have different music and added different sound effects from the original trilogy. So go watch that. Go watch that movie. It's on the Google link on that video I showed.
something that we're never going to get past, unfortunately, which is a shame.
Like, there's this meme from The Simpsons where Bart's like, "This is the worst day of my life," and Homer's like, "It's the worst day of your life so far."
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of Star Wars fans.
He is still, like, he hasn't changed at all. He's like, he's still like that TED Talk we watched the other day. He's still just like explaining memes to people as a substitute for telling an actual joke. God.
Fans thought about with Anakin talking about sand. Like, that used to be the thing. We're like, wow,
still
Star
just
Wars
talking
can't
about
go any
memes.
lower. Anakin talked about how sand gets everywhere. It's like, oh, it can get worse, and it will get worse.
Oh,
in
modern
fact.
Hollywood has taught us things can always get worse.
I started-
The prequels are now looked on fondly.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to talk about that. Like, now people are like nostalgic for
Oh
the,
my God,
for the prequels.
the Hobbit, which isn't good. People are like, "Oh, it wasn't so bad." After watching The Rings of Power,
You always judge them in relation to what came before them.
Yeah.
So we judged the prequels in relation to the original Star Wars trilogy, which was never going to measure up. That was a high bar. But then we see the sequels and we judge them in relation to the prequels and realize, okay, maybe they weren't so bad after all. It's all relative.
but I don't think it's going to happen with any of this modern. I don't think people are going to look back at the Disney sequel trilogy going, we were a little bit harsh. No, we weren't harsh enough. We weren't.
You old grognards aren't, because you've always been the people who bitched about the prequels too. Raider Gaming, thank you for using 100 bits, by the way. Patrick Dune, thank you for super chat $5. Nerdrotic drinker need Disney to survive, not the other way around. True. Sorry, I'm just seeing that for some reason.
Weren't harsh enough. That would be my
Good night,
looking
Dark
back
Knight.
on it, especially after The Force Awakens. But we're at the end of this era now, so now we're just watching the collapse. They're not even coming, like Hollywood collectively is coming out with half the entertainment they did last year. Overall, we're talking TV shows and films. And I put up the list in my last video. Of the tentpole releases this year, only 4 are not sequels or attached or prequels or attached to it.
Okay, that again, because these people hate any kind of nuance, that has less to do, I'm willing to bet, with wokeness and ESG and diversity scores than it does the fact that the entire industry, especially when it comes to big blockbusters, is undergoing a seismic shift, because this last year a shit ton of blockbusters failed, like were considered flops. The last Indiana Jones movie was considered a flop. Had nothing to do with wokeness. The last Fast and Furious movie was considered a flop. The movie that is like made for dudes, the dude movie, flopped. Did not meet expectations. The last Transformers movie flopped. These things had nothing to do with wokeness. They have to do with oversaturation and massively inflating budgets. But again, that's too much to actually think about for these folks. And theaters, post-mortem draws, you actually bring up a really good point. Theaters are also dying. Like the streaming services, which is it's such a weird place that we find ourselves in, where streaming services are combining with each other and they're offering all these packages, and we're basically getting to this point where we have easy access to a la carte cable. Like so many people I know are spending roughly the same amount every month as they were with cable. Like, the point of streaming has been almost entirely undone. However, they're still offering theatrical experiences at home. HBO still has some movies that are hitting same-day theater. Like, it's a massively changing ecosystem. But again, these dorks wouldn't be able to make videos talking about how woke everything is if they acknowledged any of the tangible reality around this issue. Yeah, also, Mockingbird, you do not need $500 million to make a good movie. That is for damn sure. Like, y'all seen Godzilla -1? Mwah! Steven Mystery super chat $2. These dudes are just millennial boomers. Yeah, they're right on the cusp, I would say, of like millennial and Gen X. Or Gen, yeah.
Previous franchise. You can't call them original because a couple of them are adapting books, but there's out of 4 all the year. That's it. Everything else is like a 3rd and 4th sequel.
Okay, that's not true. He's talking about just tentpole movies, and he's trying to make it sound like that's all movies, which for dorks like this might be true, but there's still foreign movies coming out of Japan, Taiwan, India, all of Asia. There are Spanish language films. There are films literally made all over the world every day. Go find an indie movie. Go find a foreign film. Go watch some anime. There's new and good shit out there. When you're not just waiting for corporations to just shovel the gruel down your gullet, and then you're like, I don't like this. It's like, then fucking go find something else, dude.
It's not even 2. We're in 3s and 4s. Despicable Me 4, Furiosa, which is looks terrible.
Mad Max.
A
prequel nobody wanted.
A prequel nobody wanted.
They're gonna call Furiosa woke. Okay. That's very funny to me that they're gonna go up against the god, George Miller, like that. They're gonna be like, no, who wants this? George Miller wanted it. It was a prequel nobody wanted. George Miller wanted it. Okay? The man directed 2 Happy Feet movies. Directed Babe, Pig in the City. Put some respect on his name. What George Miller wants, George Miller gets. If he wants to make Furiosa a prequel, he's gonna make it. God damn it. Nobody wanted it. You think George Miller cares? Damn no.
With a strong female character.
Right.
Finally.
I hear finally.
We've been waiting 10 years for this.
I don't need to see Mad Max in my Mad Max movie.
Yeah.
He's the patron.
Are you fucking... Are they gonna... I don't think I've ever heard, because I believe Fury Road is too perfect of a film. I don't think I've ever heard the criticism that it's too woke, but I'm if they're gonna say that.
Patriarchy.
We don't need Luke Skywalker.
We don't need Luke Skywalker and Star Wars.
Why the creative bankruptcy? Why the cultural decay? What's the difference between now and the 80s? There's all these photos of stars from the 80s. Carl Weathers is up there doing the why no more memes like that? Why no more of that? That's classic. It's
Well,
incredible.
we've lost testosterone in Hollywood, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But the other problem is budget.
Very funny for somebody who looks like they're literally suffering from a testosterone deficiency to say, but also, why aren't there memes like in the 80s? What the fuck are you talking about, Benny? Why do we have memes anymore? Every Marvel movie has memes. Like Avengers Endgame was like a cultural reset for memes. People are still making memes off that shit. What are you talking about?
Movies are costing $200-300 million now, whereas these films that we talk about fondly from the 80s, like The Predators or The Commandos or The Terminator Part 1, they were done for like $10 million, $20-30 million, peanuts in today's money.
Yeah.
And so you can afford to take more risks with films like that because there's not as much money at stake.
Like,
when you're
he's actually not wrong about this, but not with inflation. That is not like $10 million for a movie today is not $10 million back in the 80s. But otherwise, he is not wrong.
Thinking 300 million on a film, it has got to succeed, and so they end up being super safe. Like, what is the most guaranteed easy way to make money? We'll take an existing franchise
I'm curious about that now, because what do you say, Commando? You said Commando and Predator. I'm curious what those budgets actually were, because 10-15 sounds really fucking low for prime Schwarzenegger. Like, y'all didn't know, like, Schwarzenegger back in the day. What are you talking here? Let me go to... Nope, that is the soundtrack. I want the film. Budget 15 to 18 million. Okay, so that's not too terribly far off. And then budget 9 million. Okay, so that is about 10. Wonder what that is for inflation though. Because I'm willing to bet for inflation those are probably closer to... God, it couldn't be around 100, would it? I feel like 100 million is around the mark that movies like that make now. Like what's the budget for The Beekeeper? That's a in that same ballpark as a modern corollary. 40 million. Okay, so yeah, you can do that. Would be probably like 40, 50 million.
A built-in fan base, a character that's beloved,
Yeah, case
and will
with
resurrect them, will
inflation,
bring
10 million
old
would be
actors
about
back
38
who
million
aren't doing
today.
so
So,
much now, and
like,
bring them.
Then that disproves both of their points. We still do have The Beekeeper. We still have, what was another one that just came out? Silent Night. What was the budget on Silent Night? Budget, $30 million. Let's look up Expendables 4. That was made on fucking $10 in a prayer, I tell you what. If any of y'all have seen... look, I liked Expendables 4. It's way better than 3. Better than 1, second best Expendables movie. Not a high mark. But... 100 million? Oh, where? What? No. How? Did fucking Sly Stallone eat the budget? What happened? To that movie? Good God. What's another one? -1 was made for like 15 mil. Oh, I was just watching Upgrade. An original concept. Oh, fuck, really? Original concept movie, action film, revenge film, 3 million. 2018. They still do make these movies all the time. They're just not the kids' films that they bitch about all the time. Like movies, revenge thrillers come out all the damn time. What are you talking about? Larry Fishman, super chat, $5. Never understood the hatred of strong female characters, both as a depersonalized, disassociated zombie egg, and now as an estrogenated trans pupa. It's about them feeling emasculated and not seeing themselves represented more than anything. Yeah, Foxbat. Large parts of -1 were just 3 guys talking on a boat. Yep. Oh yeah, they call me the Fizz. Megan cleaned up on a relatively small budget. That's Blumhouse's like entire bag. Like go look at, let's look at Blumhouse filmography. Like Blumhouse is the master of making movies that look pretty okay, aren't always good, but they make bank. So many of their movies have been novels. They have novels and shit too. Damn. I just want to look at like a list of movies. Can I do a 2010s? All right, let's go more recent. Let's go. What were some movies that hit the theater? The Black Phone, great example. 16 million budget. 16 to 18, 162 return, almost 1,000% return on investment. Still, and here's the thing, for horror, that's still a pretty modest haul, but they spend so little that they make a massive amount back. And for horror, you don't need a lot. You need good cinematography, good director, good actors. That's it. That's what you got. They slash them is a dog shit movie, by the way. Run, Sweetheart, Run. God, that's a movie I wanted to be so good. Megan, another weird banger. Original concept, 12 million, 181 million back. Like, they're so full of shit. Five Nights at Freddy's, that made bank this year too, regrettably. Yeah, here's the thing. Five Nights at Freddy's, a massive franchise for video games. They knew it would make money. They didn't go Disney, though, and go be like, oh, we're spending $100 million. They kept it to $20 million. $20 million. And look at the fucking return. Over 1,000% return on investment. Oh, there's a Megan 2.0. Man, that's going to be a banger. Yeah, so like that is what And Blumhouse, A24 does a similar thing, although A24 actually licenses more movies, so people come to A24 with a movie pre-made and they kind of fit it into the brand. But A24 does finance other things too. Again, they keep it small, they keep it tight, they have a brand image, so that when you go to a movie, right, and you see from the producers, from the studio that brought you this, they are able to do that because they have a brand image they've cultivated. So A24, when you see a new A24 thriller, it's going to be from the studio that brought you Hereditary and The Lighthouse, and so that gives you an idea of like the quality. Even if you haven't seen those movies, you know, okay, so I heard those were good. So you go, okay, well this looks good too. It's kind of the same thing that Blumhouse does. They will go from the studio that brought you The Purge and I mean, they've done Get Out. They did Get Out, right? And other stuff. And Megan, they get to be like, okay, well that looks good too. Yeah, Thumb Warrior, Blumhouse is the Orion Pictures we deserve. You're not far right. Not far off. You're right on that. You're not far off. Okay, so Majestic Direwolf, does they them have sleepaway camp vibes? Does anybody know? I was so disappointed with they them. Let's talk about they them really quick, because I was talking about the worst movies I've ever seen earlier, and this is not a good movie. It takes place. It is a whodunit like slasher thriller that, from branding, you would think it is a tribute / send up, maybe like with a Scream type twist of films like Sleepaway Camp, Friday the 13th, and that kind of ilk. In reality, the kills super disappointing, super lame. It's an R-rated movie, ridiculously bad kills, like embarrassing for a slasher movie. And it does have a few of them, but they are so just nothing. The other thing, and I'm gonna spoil they them for y'all. They them, the main villain, the killer, is somebody who was at the conversion camp previously. It is essentially the overall message the film walks away with is that taking revenge against people who put you in conversion therapy is bad. That it is better to forgive people who put you through conversion therapy. That the worst thing you can be is militantly against this kind of torture. I already wasn't enjoying the movie, and then it hits you with this like ultra liberal, very unqueer bullshit in the end, and I was like, this is fucking, I'm super not into this. Yeah, I was incredibly disappointed because I was so, like, when I watched it, I was like, okay, I liked the cast. I liked a lot of the actors. The stuff I thought they were setting up was like really interesting with this like kind of vaguely Christian camp counselor. Like Kevin Bacon is actually kind of great in it because he plays the main camp counselor who's like very cheery and happy and like youth group pastor energy on the outside, but he is always hiding this like very sinister edge that seems like it's threatening to boil over, like he's gonna start torturing these kids at any point. Like, it had interesting stuff going, but it fumbled the fucking ball so much. And then there were a lot of other like cringe, like boomer things. There was a goofy like singing scene that people like to bring up. Yeah, it's so like misguided is the word. Misguided, and then I would say harmful on top of that. But anyway, back from they them. Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic. They make movies like this. We just looked at a bunch of them. They make movies that are original concepts made on modest budgets that get good returns, and they make them in action flavor. They make a ton of them in action flavor. Maybe not quite as much as the 80s, but they do still make these movies. Like, to act like they don't is just it's plainly ignorant of the state of movie releases. Oh, Thanksgiving. That was another one I wanted to look at. That was a Blumhouse joint, right? Thanksgiving. 2008. No, the 2000. No, I want the, what's the, oh, it's Thanksgiving. Okay, no, that's the new one. Like, what? No, I saw Thanksgiving in theaters. What are you talking about? Just looking up Thanksgiving movie. There we go. $46.5 million. And Thanksgiving was good. Like, that was, if you want a good fun slasher, that is a movie that finally is playing to Eli Roth's strengths. Yeah, 15 million, 46.5 million budget. Not bad, not incredible. But see, this is why horror movies keep their budgets low. Because this is still like 300% ROI. That covers marketing. That's good. Like, and this is just box office. Horror movies usually do pretty well on rental, streaming, all that stuff. But anyway, to disprove all of their points.
And use it as a launch pad to launch a new franchise with younger, cheaper actors. That's what they think they're going to do. And it ends up, they produce like the blandest, most corporatized garbage imaginable. And this is why we end up with the creative bankruptcy, because they don't want to take risks, because there's too much at stake.
But there are no more movie stars. Like, so my wife is just a simple observer of culture, right? She's what you'd call a consumer. They're just your basic consumer who'll go see the things she likes, or
This is, Benny, you are going off on a weird tangent. There are no more movie stars is a very dumb thing to say, but then also to start with, now my mom, geez, my brain is scrambled. I'm still sick, guys. Now my wife is just a big dummy who doesn't know culture like, you know, serious gentlemen like you and I. She's what you might call a consumer, where she just guzzles the slop that's fed to her. You better get to a point here soon, buddy.
Follow the trends that she would like to follow. She asked the other day, is there a movie star that's even remotely our age? And we couldn't name one, actually.
No.
Like, we couldn't name one. I'm 37. And we couldn't name, like, a prop.
Chris, pick a Chris. Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans. He's probably in his 40s. 42, yeah. That's around the same age, though. Chris Hemsworth, I think, is a little bit... Hemsworth is 40. Who the fuck? Chris Pratt. 44. Like, Ryan Reynolds is probably in his 50s, honestly. Yeah, 47. So getting Keanu Reeves is older too. Keanu is definitely in his 50s. Yeah, 59. Damn. He's good for 59. God damn. Yeah, so like that's just not true. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? All right, what he said 37. Michael B. Jordan, Andrew Tate, gross. Robert Pattinson is 37. Like, who was in one of the biggest fucking Batman movies of the last couple years. Shia LaBeouf, he's not really big. But like Rob Pat, still pretty big. That's one for 37. ScarJo is 39. ScarJo is fucking huge. Post-mortem draws, possibly, maybe. All right, let's go back to that shit.
For movie star, that's 37 years old.
No. I mean, even guys like The Rock, which was always tipped, he was going to be the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's 50 now. And for all the films he's made and all the money he's made, name one of them that had any influence on the culture. They don't have any cultural impact. They're just money-making endeavors.
Yes.
That's all they are.
Okay, but do you think... First off, the Fast and Furious movies have had an impact on the culture. But second off, do you think every Arnold movie made cultural impact? Or do you think you saw the good ones when you were a kid and you've just carried those through the decades with you? And media has changed so that we don't really rely on movie stars to pass down stories like that anymore. I would love their introspection on this.
Yeah, there's no stars. That,
No,
Product. Consume product.
You
Pretty
can make
much,
arguments for a couple, maybe Chris Pratt, but they're like,
How are you gonna say, oh yeah, just consume product when you're literally saying, oh, we just want the same product? Like, what the fuck are you? All right, I'm gonna. Yeah, no, Foxbat. Remember the cultural impact of "Stop or My Mom Will Shoot"? Yeah, like who here is? Oh gosh, how can we forget the hit Stallone film Over the Top? Like what? All right, I'm gonna go refill my tea again.
a movie star is just for the youngsters in the audience, is a star like, I'm gonna go see this Tom Cruise movie, I'm gonna go see this Sylvester Stallone movie. Don't care what the movie's about. It's Sylvester Stallone shooting people. That's what we used to go see movies for. That's a movie star, or it's a great actor.
That is literally...
back in the day when Al Pacino.
Again, they literally just released a movie with Jason Statham shooting people. They literally just released a movie by John Woo. It's the new John Woo movie. It's about Joel Kinnaman. He's shooting people. Like, what the fuck are you...
Pacino was in his prime, or Robert De Niro was in the prime, or Jack Nicholson. You would go see those movies for their actual acting. We don't.
Dude, people still do that. Like, I will go see an Ethan Hawke movie because it has Ethan Hawke. Like, what are you talking about?
Have actors anymore. That's why I say adult pretenders. We have influencers. We have people who take the role, like Brie Larson, who takes the role of Captain Marvel to be a platform, not to be a role.
So when was the last time you said, I'm gonna go see that Chris Pratt movie? Right, I get, and not talking on Chris Pratt. I really like Chris Pratt based on what I know, which is not much. But I've never said, show me that Chris Pratt movie.
No,
right?
No.
Where like the Schwarzenegger is bigger than the title of the movie.
Okay, so again, this has less to do with the reality of what movies are and where they're going, and more to do with the fact that they probably just don't know what fucking movies are coming out because they only pay attention to the big tentpole franchises.
Movie, right?
Yeah,
that's inverted.
We'd go see crappy Schwarzenegger movies because he was in it.
Yes.
You know.
So that seems like Hollywood's lost so much power because the movie star was the power and the control of that entity.
They're talking about something that isn't happening.
Like horrible business.
The power now lies with the franchises.
Tom Holland and Zendaya.
The characters.
That brings up a great. You just deleted. That's a great point. And on the subject of Zendaya, also that the Timothée Chalamet cannibal movie. Like people went to see that because they're like, oh my gosh, I love Timothée Chalamet. Like what are you talking about? People don't go see things because of stars. Like.
In some way, like you want to see a Superman movie, it doesn't really matter which actor's playing Superman, it's the character that people want to see. Or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like that's bigger than any of the actors that are in it. It's just a gigantic brand, and so that's where the power now lies in Hollywood, which again is probably why they
Do you really think if they announced an Iron Man 4 tomorrow with no Robert Downey Jr., it would make half as much as if Robert Downey was playing Tony again? Like, do you really think that? Do you really think those actors aren't tied to their characters in any tangible way? Come on. Get out of this shit.
try so hard to extend these franchises beyond their natural lifespan because the franchise or the brand is what's making the money now.
Yeah, and as far as the modern movie star is concerned, we got to know them. Social media, so they would annoy us once a year at an award show and bloviate about something stupid. But now we get to hear him every single day. Like Mark Hamill, I wouldn't even want to see him play Luke Skywalker again. I can't stand the dude.
So again, they cannot fathom their toys being actually associated with real people. This is so strange.
The dude's insufferable on Twitter, and I don't even follow him.
Talk about failure to launch. Like Rachel Ziegler's was supposed to be the next thing.
Ouch. Yeah.
And then she got on social media.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can correct that ship. Maybe I'm wrong.
No,
I don't think so. Or it's going to take a long time.
Who the hell is Rachel Ziegler? She looks like a Disney girl. What was she in? Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Oh, she's the Snow White girl. Okay. I gotcha.
A lot of humility. It would take her to come out and say I was wrong, which good
Like, do you think she's not the next big thing because her movie hasn't come out yet? Dingus? Whatever.
luck.
Right, I'm gonna
It
get
would
IT,
work.
it's hot
It would
now.
actually work, but they just their ego will not allow them to do that. Same with corporations. All they have to do is Kathleen Kennedy comes out. This was 10 years. This is 5 years ago. This ship has sailed. But if she came out 5 years ago and went, we fed up. Sorry for this language, but we demonize the fans. We shouldn't have done that. We're going to try to make the best Star Wars possible. And from here on out, any of our actors, any of our creators will just talk about how much they love Star Wars, and they're going to do the best they can.
And I resign.
Problem over.
Yeah, that would help.
Yeah, and I resign. Problem over.
Yeah.
In
I'm going to
24
put on a
hours.
Jar Jar Binks costume of shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to walk through the streets, and you're all going to be able to shout shame at me, and like Game of Thrones scene.
Yeah.
And I think you could have actually won. I think that actually a lot of people would have
Well, I think
respected
just
that.
Everybody
humility
would respect
and a
it.
genuine apology. It's hard
Yeah.
to still be mad at someone when they've
Here we
demonstrated
see
both
that
of
they
those things,
actually
but they
just
won't because their
want-
standard MO is just to double down.
They literally just want supplication from the people who disagree with them. Like that's what they want. We want you on your knees and apologizing to us for demonizing us, the fans. And then also another thing to note is Benny once again just referencing something in lieu of a joke, which is just a terrible quality for somebody to have. Larry Fishman is super chatted $2. Why are these sissies mad at Brie Larson? Oh boy, that is a long story. Because one time she said that she was making Captain Marvel more for girls to feel seen, and that made them so mad, and they never forgave her. Kongu 9992, thank you very much. Super Jack $20. Goodness gracious, God, I can't believe I used to watch Tips. It's like Drinker. Also, on the note of foreign stuff, have you heard of Kamen Rider or Super Sentai? Yeah, I saw Shin Kamen Rider in theaters. I've seen all the no, I haven't seen Shin Godzilla. I saw Shin Kamen Rider and Shin Ultraman in theaters. Kinetheus, thank you for super chatting. 666. These man children need to grow up and touch grass. True, they're deluding themselves with a right-wing utopian fantasy. Yeah, it's somebody else mentioned it, but like the myth of the past.
On what they've done before, I just keep going.
That's where risk averse comes in. So it's risk averse. It's easier to demonize half of your paying customers.
Okay,
than
so he's gonna make the claim that it's risk averse to do something new rather than just regurgitate literally everything and keep doing the same thing that was done 40 years ago. That's the safe bet. Okay.
be called a racist. Because if Kathleen Kennedy had done that, then the people within her own organization would have called her out for bending the knee to the chuds and the right wing and the alt-right and all that.
Who started
BS
talking about racism?
that they started.
What? Oh,
so
man.
it's their lie. It's their negative. And that, like Hollywood was, I don't want to say
fuck
sold
is
a
he
lie.
even
I don't want to
saying?
absolve them of any responsibility. They willingly bought into the lie of DEI. And
we
brought that in identity politics, and they thought that was the way to go and make money. Of course, we heard the head of BlackRock say we're forcing behaviors because they're completely open about what they're trying to do and socially engineer. And it was a bunch of like-minded people going, sure. Is it a vast conspiracy? No, it's a conspiracy of idiots and incompetence and lack of creativity. There's no talent left. All the talent's being driven out. We're hearing that. If you follow Film Threat, they're going to be covering it the rest of the year,
Hell
pretty
yeah,
much. And you're going to hear
Postmortem.
anonymous people from the
Congrats.
Film Actors Guild, the Writers Guild of America, and all the other guilds saying, we're not down with this. We're forced into it because we're afraid of our own union. So, it's they willingly bought into it, and now they're going to go broke.
Is there going to be a class action lawsuit by white people who are working in Hollywood saying this is by the letter of the law, the 1964 Civil Rights Act says you cannot discriminate against race?
Nah, they would never have the balls to do it.
No.
Not one person. It would have to be a collective movement of like hundreds of different people because whoever does it is going to get black.
Watson, am I too dumb for not knowing what DI is? No, it's the new conservative boogeyman. It's diversity, equity index, and it's just a way to say like wokeness and that it's a way to spread a conspiracy that they are mandating diversity in media. And it's just so ridiculous. Postmortem draws time to kiss that vampire twink. It's harder than you might think to kiss Astarion. But I wish you well on your journey.
Listed for the rest of their natural lives for daring to speak out about this.
Hollywood makes movies about how bad the communist scare was and the Red Scare and how unfair it was for communist directors and producers.
And they're doing the same thing.
To be put on blacklists, but,
Well,
but now they're being put on whitelists,
Oh, and
right?
it
gradually
turns out there
purging
was a
their
bunch of
ranks.
commies in Hollywood too. So
Yeah, shocker.
They're literally spreading Red Scare, McCarthyism, propaganda. What are they going to say next? Are you going to talk about the Jews in Hollywood next, buddy? You going to talk about the cultural Bolsheviks? Spreading degeneracy and pornography? Good God.
It's a real shocker.
turns
there.
out that was kind of true.
But what you're seeing is a gradual purge of the ranks of people in Hollywood, the creatives, the writers, the producers. They're slowly being purged of the wrong kind of people. And so at every level, you're getting these people in who just believe in the cause, believe in the message. The message. Tick some box or other. And those are the people that are now destroying the industry because they don't
I
have
want to see what that actually was.
message.
The mess. All right, we got social justice, diversity, feminist. Oh, this is just buzzwords. A bunch of saying hi, hola in Spanish. Let's work together. Rights. Dog, you're literally saying rights are a bad thing. Feminism. There's an old person here. What? They're children. It's just fucking nonsense. What? Gibberish.
Tick some box or other, and those are the people that are now destroying the industry because they don't have the talent to back up their positions.
So that's across industries. My mentor, Andrew Breitbart, used to say that politics is downstream of culture. That culture was the nexus.
That's exactly what Ben Shapiro says. Politics is downstream of culture. Michael, thank you very much for following.
Hollywood obviously creates a huge portion of culture, along with sports.
I did not know
recording industry,
Breitbart was his.
and media
I didn't
industry.
know he was down with
But
Breitbart
politics
like
then
that.
responds to that, and so I'm begging for Hollywood to learn the error of their ways, because the faster Hollywood does that, the faster the political world actually corrects itself, because it has to happen in that order, right? And so, like, will Hollywood learn their ways, or is it like Leroy Jenkins going on right now,
dude.
where it's like they're just gonna go down,
Like,
they will
literally
never
everything
apologize.
he says is just a fucking reference. Like, he can't make one point without being like, it's like Game of Thrones. It's like Leroy Jenkins. It's like the sand meme. It's like God. Everything is so old and cringe. You're such a like. I
And
know
they'll
you're not a
bankrupt
boomer,
the
but
entire
you are a
industry. The
boomer.
Hollywood sign will be in flames before anybody apologizes.
I think it's Hollywood and culture, the relationship between them is not like hierarchical, it's cyclical. So
Yes.
Hollywood is both a reflection and an influence on culture. It reacts to what it thinks culture is because it wants to try and reflect what the modern audience wants. But it also then, because of what they're producing, it has that mass influence on the thinking of their audience. And so it moves in a cycle. And the problem is it becomes self-reinforcing. So they think that this is what people want. They see it on social media particularly. They're hugely guilty of this. Social media is not reality. And the kind of people who spend most time on it are not real people.
Yeah.
And so they react to that for an audience that doesn't even exist. And then they act surprised when their movies fail time and time again.
Okay, but what about the movies that, again, like Barbie, like Spider-Verse, are super woke but don't fail because they're good and people actually want to see them? Like that alone shatters their argument. Like they are trying to say, oh, you see all these people online who are advocating wokeness? Yeah, they're not real people. They don't count for our argument. We're the real people. We're the normal people. Wow. Yeah, no, that's
You can do better,
Jen's
Senator.
probably-
And the
that's
fact-
on Kobe.
and the
I
fact
just
that
couldn't
this-
believe that scene.
It is, and like it's been going on for almost a decade now. We're at 8 years in since 2015, 2016 when this really started. It's been there, but it never like
Weird. What
ruled
happened around
Hollywood.
then, buddy?
And now it absolutely rules Hollywood, and they're just starting to figure it out 8 years in, when some of us were calling it out 5 years ago, and it's great. I think Hollywood is part of a 20th century model that just didn't adapt fast enough. You know, it'll always be around. Like radio will always be around. There'll always be music. There'll always be Hollywood, but it's not even the biggest thing now. Video games are. Video games are the biggest form of entertainment by far.
Oh, please talk about wokeness in video games. Please, God, talk about wokeness in video games.
They dwarf what Hollywood does in a year, even in their best year. So yeah, there'll always be scripted entertainment, but Hollywood will contract now, and it will be. We're seeing it happen right before our eyes. The old studios are selling out, and it's all going to contract, and it's going to be about 4 entities like it used to be in the beginning, but it's going to be the tech companies. Apple will control some of Hollywood, even though nobody watches their stuff, because they have just all the liquid cash in the world. Netflix is number 1. Amazon will do it till they get bored. So out of those 3 big guns, 2 of them are vanity projects, basically.
You think Amazon Prime is a vanity project? How can anybody take these people serious? Like, saying Amazon Prime is a vanity project, one of the biggest streaming platforms in the fucking world. Are you high? What?
And Hollywood is scared to death. And Disney is about to go through what Warner Brothers went through. Warner Brothers used to be.
Yeah, quick Google search says in 2022, Amazon Prime generated $35.22 billion in revenue. Yeah. It's not surprised.
On top of the world a decade ago. They had Harry Potter. They had Nolan doing Batman. Game of Thrones was doing great. Like, they were firing on all cylinders. Now they're billions in debt. Same thing's going to happen to Disney. Who rises up? Maybe Universal. But there'll be 4 or 5 studios running everything again, just like it was in the beginning, just like it has been over the last century. But they're not going to be the biggest thing anymore. And because they're competing against us. They're competing against you. They're like somebody firing up a stream. Now more people are just watching each other, you know?
Now more people are just watching people like us bitch about movies when we obviously know nothing about them or the industry.
Which is great.
Introspectively, and I know humble people hate these kind of questions, but introspectively,
These fuckers
you
are
radicalized
humble.
me. You radicalized me. Who radicalized you? You did. Game of Thrones radicalized me. Because that was the first time in my adult life where I had invested in
so
something.
fucking cringe.
And I got I mean, my time was violated, right? Like,
Okay, you aren't special. That doesn't make you unique. Like, the world collectively looked at the end of Game of Thrones and meant, man, that's some bullshit. Like, I remember watching the finale and just like having caught up on every season to get to the end, watching the finale and just being like, I don't know, man. Like, okay. But he's just sucking. Like, do you need knee pads while you're down there, buddy? Damn.
like based on showrunners that had better things to do and didn't actually give a shit about me. I realized in the end they actually didn't care about me at all, and it drove me to your channels.
Why would they think about you? What?
And it's like, I think that so much of your audiences, which are in the millions, like have found your channels based on that collective anger. And so Hollywood actually, in their stupidity here, and by the violation of the fan, they're creating new brands that are not only critical of them, but have the capacity to create the culture that they've lost.
We definitely see it, because I've said this before, like every time a new project gets announced and you know it's going to be like the wokest of woke garbage, you just think to yourself, I wonder how many YouTube careers this one's going to launch.
Okay, so they're just laying out the grift right there. Like that, it is so that's such a wild way to admit the whole kit and caboodle. They don't actually produce. Here's the fascinating thing. The entire time they've been talking about, like, oh, our culture we used to produce things of value, and we used to make these movies that would become memes and that they would be passed down, and we don't have any movie stars and everything. And now they're patting themselves on the back for replacing that in culture. but they don't produce anything of value, arguably even less. Here they are admitting essentially to being parasites. Their entire ecosystem revolves around what other people create, and if they can attack that. It's so fucking, that's wild. Jen Scarlett, who are these two cryberries? These are all people in various nerd sphere dipshit circles who have around 2 million followers each. Except, no, Nerdrotic doesn't quite have 1 million.
So in a way, they're creating the entertainment.
Yes.
Just unintentionally.
Yes.
Because, I mean, the best thing about Star Wars.
Marquise Decide, you're actually, I think you're dead on there. If anything, they replaced tabloids talking about celebs revealed to have cellulite. Like, yeah, it is just like the same catty supermarket rack bullshit about, oh, who had a tuck, who got plastic surgery. Like, it's the same shit.
Wars now is everybody's videos.
Yes.
That's the best thing. The memes, the videos, the roasting on Twitter is the best entertainment there is.
Someone said to me once, I was like on Twitter saying, say something good about the Marvels. And so I just said, I've made more money out of this than Marvel ever will.
I'm making a shrine in my house. I've got a post. I'm serious. I'm going to put candles in front of it, little Brie Larson heads.
Like, at what point does the humiliation end? They clearly want to make a new Star Wars with Daisy Ridley. Like, do they never read the room?
Yeah.
They never read the room.
Oh.
Like, there has to come a point. There must come an end to the.
When will the madness end? Truly, when will they know that people don't want all of this stuff? God damn, that's a fucking massive budget too. Holy shit. 400 million for that. Boo. And that's a movie I dislike strongly. I really don't like Rise of Skywalker, but like, if you're fucking...
Like, Bud Light is a good example in the cultural, in like a very different semi-political arena where like there was actually finally an endpoint to this. And now you see Bud Light sponsoring the UFC, anti-woke comedian, literally anti-woke offensive comedians that make trans jokes.
Yeah, they're doing
right?
everything
like,
they can to be as macho as possible now.
Not complimenting Bud Light, not saying go drink Bud Light. I certainly am not. Sam Adams all the way. But
I've never
what I'm
drank
saying
Bud
is
Light.
Bud Light felt it. And they like came this close to apologizing, and they effectively are apologizing, right? By sponsoring Sean Strickland in the UFC, who's like the biggest.
But if they apologize, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
you would go back to drinking Bud Light. Because if they came out like and humbly said, we fucked up, sorry.
I wouldn't continue boycotting. That's right.
Yeah.
If they came out and they're like, here's the deal. You're our customers, and you told us no, and this was a mistake, and this will never happen
And we're
again.
sorry.
Yeah. Then you got to respect that as a
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, counteroffer. They don't apologize to you. They don't apologize for a trans person. And they're still getting their market share back. You fucking idiot. Like, they're not doing any of this weird wish fulfillment stuff you're laying out. They are just going and getting their market share back. Because it's a business, they advertise. And eventually, most normal people will not give a fuck. Good God.
No,
Will Hollywood
the
ever have
Marvels,
that moment?
the Marvels was that moment for Marvel.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Where the pain got too intense?
Well, that was the first, like, absolute outright flop that they experienced before they could make excuses like, oh, it was the pandemic, the attendance at theaters was down, all those kinds of things. This was the first movie where there was no excuses to be made. It should have been successful if it was good. Nobody cared about it, though.
Here's the thing. The Marvels was actually way better than fucking Quantumania, that pile of ass. But again, this last year specifically, and it's been getting rougher, but this last year was marred by some of the worst flops for investment ratios out there. Like massive budget films that just did not cook. You had The Flash, Indiana Jones, The Marvels. Quantumania performed under expectations. Fucking Fast and Furious. Like, you'll look up what are the other big, Transformers, that was another one. Mission Impossible, underperformed. Blue Beetle, underperformed. Where am I? Yeah, let's go through some of these. Let's start with. Oh, yeah, here we go. We got. I think, did I just see Shazam? Yep, Shazam! Fury of the Gods. As another one, underperformed. I think Dungeons and Dragons underperformed, even though Honor Among Thieves was fucking banger. Yeah, budget 150 million, box office 208. That is barely in. When you get past marketing and everything, that's barely making a budget back, even though that movie was actually good. We got going into May. Yep, Transformers, Rise of the Beasts. I mean, you know, it doubled its money. I think a large part of that was overseas, if I remember right. But not nearly what it needed to. Like when you're talking the last Transformers movies were pushing $1 billion each. Like, come on. Yeah, Flash way underperformed. $220 million budget, 273, which, like, good. That is one of the worst, like, big budget films I've ever seen. Indiana Jones, it was all right. It was okay. Underperformed. A new Universal animated film from the people who made Shrek and How to Train Your Dragon. Didn't even make back its budget. Flop. Mission Impossible, one of the biggest action movie franchises on the planet. Routinely, regularly, bangers. Bangers. Phenomenally choreographed. Great acting. Involving stories. Amazing scenery. Gross, net. So, just made twice the budget. I believe it underperformed. The film was described as a box office disappointment. And that is the perfect ideal of the movie that they would like. Big budget, masculine film, explosions and punches and all that shit. Where was... Oh, Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I think this one underperformed too. Which sucks because this movie ruled. Oh no, that did pretty good. Okay, that's more than double the budget. It's not amazing, but that's okay. Meg 2 The Trench. That did okay, surprisingly. What else? There was another Blue Beetle. That's another one. Yeah, way underperformed. Box office or budget 140 125, box office 130. Gran Turismo, that was another one that they were... God, I saw so many fucking trailers for Gran Turismo. Hey, it made double. That's not amazing, not terrible. Equalizer 3, another action movie. How did Equalizer... I hope that did good. That was a banger. Yeah, okay, doubled its budget. And you see, you'll notice something here. Even though those action movies like Equalizer aren't doing amazing, they're also made on like much more modest budgets. Like 70 mil versus The Flash with like almost 300 million. Haunting and Vanish. God, there was another one. What am I... The Creator, that was another one. Budget 80 million, box office 104. That is a fucking huge flop. Because I'm willing to bet with marketing and everything that came to way more. Because that movie, they were pushing that so hard. Not huge flop. It made back its budget at least, but like, that's still not great. That's not great. Yeah, even Killers of the Flower Moon, like one of the biggest movies of the year, the new Scorsese film, total banger. Didn't even make back its budget at the box office. Insane budget on that movie, by the way. 200 million. Like, it's a phenomenal film. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, fucking what? And then the Marvels. Yeah, budget 278 versus 206 million. So like, it was a disappointment. But if you're gonna sit here and tell me that it's the only disappointment this year, it was the biggest one, or that it's somehow related to it being Marvel and not the fact that it's been a fucking rough year for big budget films, like you're just wrong. You're just wrong. Oh yeah, and Rebel Moon. Good night, Lane Kaplan. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your
Cratered.
night.
What did it get? Like 200 million globally?
It had it, and then it readjusted down, so it's
Yeah, Marquis
under
de Sade,
200
they
million
just aren't
globally.
getting.
I mean,
it didn't
that
even
is-
Like,
make
people
200.
are
and
just
what-
not going to theaters like they used to. Like we now have, between every streaming app, we now have, like, if somebody sees a movie and they're like, oh, it looks okay, they say, I'll wait for it to come to streaming. Because even if it comes to HBO, Paramount, I'll get a free trial, I'll buy it for 1 month, whatever. Like, because it is still cheaper for a lot of people to say, I'm gonna pay $7, $14, whatever, watch some other TV shows, than say, I'm gonna pay $20 to go to a movie. Like, yeah, no, in Hammock, I don't know why, like, because I think, didn't Silence... Yeah, Silence didn't do any money. Silence didn't do any box office, and that was like, again, made like half of its budget at the box office. And this is a movie that has been, oh yeah, they say it right here, a longtime passion project for Scorsese, which he had developed for over 25 years. It received critical acclaim. Top 10 films of the year. Yeah, it's like, Silence was a phenomenal film. Like, so good. Adam Driver, Andrew Garfield, Liam Neeson. It just didn't bring people in. Like, that's the nature of movies. Like, they want to sit here and talk about all these great, like, classic films and stuff. Some of those classics were not classics at the time. Like, some of those films underperformed and became cult classics later. Like, The Thing is a perfect example. One of my favorite movies. It was not, like, hailed as a classic by any stretch. It wouldn't be until years later.
What does it cost?
When the $300 million. That's without marketing.
I'd say
massive reshoots.
It
And
would have needed like 800 million to break even.
yeah, and its predecessor made $1 billion. When Daisy Ridley's Ray movie comes out, please come out. That'll be, maybe they'll recognize it. They just can't fire Kathleen Kennedy. She's too powerful. They backed themselves in the corner, and that's the game of identity politics. You're screwed.
So Kathleen Kennedy, can you explain this to me? Like, I like, she got coffee for Steven Spielberg. Is
she's
that
a
it?
she's a
That's it.
legit mystery.
Yeah.
She essentially, I think she rode the coattails of guys like Steven Spielberg and
Yes.
George Lucas for most of her career. And,
Rode the
you know,
coattails.
I don't want to completely
her
trash her because
husband.
she was a producer on most of Steven Spielberg's movies.
With Frank
and
Marshall.
Yeah. And I think, like, when you've got a
Yeah,
very
it's
specific
literally
task
just
as a
because
producer,
she's a
you're
woman that
organizing
she's-
things, you're delegating work, you're just a project manager, basically, to
You're
make
just a project. Fuck, man.
this work. That is one set of skills. But running a studio,
All right, I'm gonna clip forward a little bit here. I want to see if they get.
Ridicule is the last place. So bad news cycles happen, then ridicule happens, you become a joke, and then you have to, like, resign, right? Like,
Yeah.
you, like, there's so much shame that's
They're still talking about Kathleen Kennedy.
People I've talked to, and they've kind of come around, right? We don't agree on everything, but like Forbes, for example, there's a couple people that Forbes used to be terrible. With Scotty Mendelson, big Cuties fan, he's gone now. But Forbes has gotten better, and they've actually
still talking
called
about
out
Cuties.
some
Fuck,
stuff,
man.
honestly. And it's like, good. That's what we need. We need more of that. Now we don't have enough, and
Crane was
thankfully
taken. I
the
wanna
rest
see
are
if they
dying
get to,
anyway. Screen
video
Rant's
games.
dying. They're all
screen.
and you could then leave that out if you wanted, and you could just go for a drink with your buddies and just talk sports or whatever. But when the personal has to become political because everything's been infused with politics, everything's divisive now. Like Star Wars, I guess, is a good example. You could 10, 20 years ago say, well, I didn't like the prequels so much, and maybe someone else will say, well, I did, and then you could have a chat about it, and you don't have to hate.
Okay, that's a fucking lie. Dude, like, that is such revisionist bullshit. Jake Lloyd was driven to therapy because nerds fucking hated him so much as Anakin Skywalker. The Jar Jar the Jar Jar actor was like harassed openly for years and years over playing Jar Jar Binks, over ruining the franchise. This is such revisionist bullshit.
Each other.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, I didn't like The Last Jedi. And the other person would be like, oh, so you're a Nazi then, eh?
Yep.
Right. The year is 1992. We live in Chicago.
Oh, God.
You're a hard left liberal. I'm a far right Republican or whatever. We can have a beer without politics. We can go watch Michael Jordan without politics. We can then the next day go see a Star Wars without politics, or the Schwarzenegger movie without any fear that like you and I would need to be in an argument over any of it, right? And that's what you call a culture, and that was like not too long.
That's what you call a culture. They are the ones who complain about these things for a living. They literally make up shit to complain about for a job. Are you out of your... Ah!
I was alive in 1992.
Yeah.
Like that.
Let's skip.
And a lot of people across this country radicalized them to common sense, by the way.
There you go.
Was not COVID, it was reaction to COVID.
Yeah.
It was Hollywood's reaction to COVID.
All right, so we're gonna spread code.
Becoming awake to that fact. Like
Yes,
the government
and
doesn't wish
always
for more,
has.
Yes.
Always has.
They don't
Like,
wish for more human flourishing. Like look at the way
it's
society's
like that
gone.
Jack Nicholson meme. It's like, yeah.
Great. We have more memes and talking about like government control. This is sad, dude. This is like
They've always hated us. There
So
you
it's
go.
all interconnected, and we do Friday Night Tights, and we try and cross-pollinate the worlds, but it actually is interconnected.
Yes.
And I wish more people would be aware of this, and I think we are reaching a point of awareness.
Yeah, I mean, like,
this is just like both dick riding.
I think
and
all of us
patting
have
each
said
other
that, like,
on the back.
when we're honest, when we talk about culture, it's always been bigger than Star Wars or Star Trek or Doctor Who. It's always been bigger than that. I just try to stay, and I'll use their terminology, my lane, like of the stuff I know about. I'm not going to sit there and pontificate about Israel or anything like that. You know,
Dog, you don't fucking know shit about what you think you know about already. Like,
stay in my lane, but it's always been bigger. And yes, Andrew Breitbart was right. That's one of his best quotes. And it's still taking a long time for our friends on the right to figure this stuff out.
Yes.
They really need to like get culturally savvy, because the
Salty Llama, you absolutely can.
left they've owned it. They've completely defeated everybody. They've invaded every single institution.
Yes.
Hollywood's an institution, just
Duncan
as our
Riley, thank
school
you for
system is,
subscribing.
just as our government is. And
Here
they
we go.
rule
Here's
it
the
all.
good shit.
And the only way we fight back is the way they did it. You learn about it, infiltrate it. We'll do something different. We'll tell the truth.
Yes.
We'll tell the truth, because they
The fuck
don't.
are you even?
They
Or make
don't.
Godzilla -1
Or make Godzilla
on a
minus
budget
one.
that so many people.
Oh, I want to smack the Godzilla right out your face. You dumb.
I mean, so many rich people in this country donate money to stupid causes, way more than $15 million that it costs to make Godzilla
playing,
-1.
Baldur's Gate.
But how much
Postmortem.
cultural impact did that single movie have?
I mean, that movie cost barely half of one episode of She-Hulk.
Of She-Hulk.
Just to put that into context.
You know we have a She-Hulk in politics. Her name is Kamala Harris.
Yes, yes.
It's the same character, boys.
It is. Oh, I'm very familiar with her.
Yeah, because it's San
Live
Francisco.
in San Francisco.
But she is She-Hulk. She's like the boss
God, this is fucking embarrassing. Like,
lady
every
lawyer.
attempt at a joke he makes is just so lame. And like, he literally, we're going on 40 minutes here. I skipped through a bunch of stuff, so maybe I missed a point where he made an actual joke. But he literally just references something and then goes on to explain the reference as a substitute for a joke. Is that how all... I mean, I haven't ever watched Critical Drinker or Nerdrotic. Is that how they all are? That is so... Stone Core Bell, I think it has had an impact. Like, I think it has definitely gotten people who wouldn't normally see a Godzilla movie into theaters to see it. Like, it had insane word of mouth success. Like, it was supposed to be in theaters. Godzilla Minus One was supposed to be in theaters for 1 weekend in America. It got so much good word of mouth, they extended it 1 week, and then it ended up extending it for over a month, and then putting it out in America in black and white. Like, it got really good word of mouth. It's, as well it should. It's a fucking phenomenal film.
It's not who you know, it's who you blow. It's an old saying, but it's very true in her case.
I'm just a Brit sitting here like, what?
He literally just... God, what a fucking disgusting... Just ape. Like saying Kamala Harris blew somebody to get her position. Fucking...
Oh, Willie Brown. It's the spawn of Willie Brown, almost literally. So.
And Montel Williams.
And Montel Williams.
With his girlfriend on his arm and Kamala being dragged around as a side chick in public. How humiliating is that shit?
That's a side squeeze.
Dude. No
not
shame.
As humiliating
they have no
as
shame.
having, not as humiliating as having her as our VP.
Okay, so
that's just embarrassing. Okay.
This is you're
so
fucking embarrassing.
Kamala Harris is
God.
She-Hulk. I'm glad we all agree on this.
Yes.
Maybe for a European, that's like the best way to explain politics, American politics. And then Joe Biden is what character in the MCU?
He's so fucking... I don't know, like, if I'm ever gonna watch another Benny Johnson thing again. Like, he is so... Just... Thank you, Unholy Fruit and Sapona, for popping off with the goats. He is just so cringe. Like, he's just so cloying, and he's trying so hard. We're almost done with this.
MODOK? I don't know.
A really old Nick Fury.
A Marvel zombie. That's what he is.
This is just, but also, like, listen for the dead air. This is they have no charisma. They have no camaraderie. This is just rough. Yeah, no. Also, weren't they weren't they just talking?
That
about
was in What If. That kind of counts because
and everything.
You know,
yeah.
He's a zombie for wars before he, you know. I go for it.
All right, we're talking more about.
Wherever they are, that becomes the new industry, and that's how independent movements have cycled in throughout entertainment and will continue to do so. It just took a while for this one to get here. Maybe it saves comics. American comics are pretty dead right now, so it's a great opportunity for anybody out there. If you think you can do it, try it. But as far as film, yeah, he's doing a short film. He also writes a book series. This guy right here, Ryan Drake, you know, I got a book coming out later this year.
Really?
So yeah,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, now you know.
A comic book?
No. It's a memoir. So it's kind of like it's not focused on YouTube. It's focused on my sobriety.
Is it called The Folsom Prison Blues?
I couldn't use that one. So,
Yeah, really?
It's called Waiting for Nerdrotic. So, and it's got some subtitle. I forgot what it was.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's so great.
So it'll come out later this year. But
I look forward to hyping the out of it. And also, the books are published.
Yes, the Ryan Drake books, they're all
Yeah.
published. And yeah, now we're starting to make movies about them. So can't
Available
wait for that.
on Amazon, by the way.
Yeah.
Multiple languages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just in
If
case
we're,
you're wondering.
Just in case you're wondering.
If the
Uplifting
intro is any
messages
indication,
about saving
good God.
culture. Like, this was kind of, if you go back 100 years, how it all started, right? Like, guys that Walt Disney, we're sitting here inside of, like, the shadow.
God, what is it about conservatives that just gives them this false sense of confidence that they are, we're just like Walt Disney. We're just like these people who ran animation studios of animators who spent years cultivating their craft because we write books and record shitty movies. Like it's the same thing you see whenever Ben Shapiro or Jeremy Boring talk about, like, well, what we're doing is we're answering woke Hollywood and we're making our own thing. It's like, it's just, but all of your shit is just a pale imitation of something else, because that's all you really want. Like that is it's the it's not too different from the like guiding ideology of a lot of AI artists and the people who are like, oh, just imagine in 5 years you'll be able to make your own AI movies of whatever you want to see. It's like the only things you would want to see are just based on what other people have done, because you don't have the creativity yourself to envision something and try and actually force that into reality. You have to look at something else and go, yeah, it's good enough. Yeah, it's kind of the thing that I envision. That's basically it. Like, God.
Of this empire, obviously, that Disney built, ironically, but started out as, drawing comics, getting totally over by his business partners time and time again, losing his IP, like Scrappy, and that was not long ago, and he was able to build this empire, and it was 100 years ago actually. Steamboat Willie, right? Like, comes out. And this is what can happen in just a generation of creators, like hitting like nose to the grindstone.
Yes.
Always needed that.
We need it, yeah. And it's the story.
I'm probably older than you. I mean, I'm 37, but like, I followed
Their image and their ego, and what's the best way to get that? Make them look like the fools they are.
Yes, ridicule.
Ridicule.
First thing.
Well, I've about had my fun with this. Let's watch a George Takei response.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
Thank you, George. Thank you for that. That was very helpful. That is so, like... That just sucks. Like, it's just an hour of them... okay, I might have to watch this one. This one's pretty good. It's just an hour of them going... Like, we're so awesome and we're so great. We're making our own things, and we've proven to them how awesome we are, and they're gonna listen to us one day. It's like, it's just fucking sad. Let me go into this real quick, because this looks like it might be a banger. We haven't done a hate church in a minute.
Just for simply believing in the Bible, because apparently in today's society, if you believe the Bible, you're in a cult, which is crazy. But that just shows you how far down the toilet society has gotten. It's gotten crazy.
This is
to
the
the
good
point
stuff.
where just believing the scriptures makes you a cult in their eyes. But the first attribute of a real cult is the guru. They all have this guru that they look to as their ultimate authority. The Bible's not their ultimate authority. Their guru is their ultimate authority.
Thank you for following.
And that's unfortunate, but that is a definite sure sign of a cult. If you walk into a church and everybody's worshiping some man and they say that man has all the answers, you better believe that that's a cult. Because even when he contradicts the Bible.
Let's get to the good stuff. This is a route that a lot of, like, pretty much every hate church pastor has taken this.
You already, just stay where you're at, but in 2 Peter 2:17, we read this already, but it says, these are wells without water, clouds that are carried with the tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved.
God, put a pop filter on that shit, dude.
To disobey God. That's where you should draw the line. If the government tells you you can't go soul winning, you can't preach the gospel, then we ought to obey God.
Oh, here we go. They're getting into.
So there is a line there to be drawn. But these cult leaders, what they do is they put fear of the government into people. They're fear mongers.
That you guys literally do that. Do not.
You to be afraid of everything. Man. The only safe place is the cult. That's what they want you to think, and that's why it says in 2 Peter 2. Verse 10, but chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness and despise government, presumptuous are they, self-willed, they are not afraid to speak evil of dignities. Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the Lord. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. We should not be afraid of the government either. In Matthew 10:28, it says, fear not them which can kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. So who should we fear? God. That's the only thing we should be afraid of. We should not be afraid of government or mankind of any type. The only healthy fear is the fear of God. The Bible also says God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. So another sign of a cult is they're trying to make you fear the government. Oh, the government's going to get us. And that's what they want. They want you to just be afraid, so you're solely dependent on the guru. Now, obviously, in the end times, there will be a one world government, and they will be persecuting Christians. And, I get that. But until there's a one world government, and the Antichrist takes over the one world government, there's a lot of things that have to happen for that to take place. And what David Koresh did was he tricked his followers into thinking that was already happening, even though there was no one world government, even though there was none of those things happening that the Bible says are going to happen before the end. He tricked them into thinking it was happening because he wanted them to be afraid of the government. Why? So that they would depend on him, the guru.
What? Oh my god, dude. Just like literally a sentence ago, you were talking about how they fearmonger about the government. Like,
That's
you
what a cult
can't.
looks like. Now go to Isaiah chapter 8. Isaiah chapter 8. Very similar in those aspects of the fact that they have the guru that has all the answers, and the Bible's not their authority. Yes, of course it's dangerous. Cults are dangerous, and they're out there.
They
So, yes, we
talk
should be
about
warned about what a
cults
cult looks like.
so much.
Jeremiah 23 talks about false prophets. Look at verse 25.
Poisonous green strawberries. Why am I subbed? Because I love poking the bear, so to speak. I love subtitles, captions unavailable. It's okay. We don't need to watch the rest of this. No, I'm subbed to all of the Hate Church videos because I love poking at them, and also they keep talking about me. They talked about me twice recently. Yeah, it was one video where they pretended to not remember my name and stuff. It was very fun. All right, yes, we are good. Let's do some palate cleansing. I don't really want to. Robert's on a boring kick tonight, so. Complain endlessly about Chip Chilla. Okay. Oh, we got some. There we go. Mockingbird coming through. Ooh, actually, I know what else I wanted to do. Hang on. I have one more. Yes, I wanted to see what this one was because it looks bad. This is on the same subject. And this one started making the rounds on Twitter a little bit, and I want to just like see it and react to it. Talking about how identity politics is ruining entertainment. This one got my goat because at 11 minutes, which is barely the limit for ads, Echo Chamberlain has the nerve to call this 11-minute video a video essay. This is barely a video paragraph, my friend. Oh, did Very Tall Bart drop it? All right, that'll be. I'll finish with Very Tall Bart then. All right, but I want to see what this guy's about.
Identity politics is the squabbling and pissing matches brought about by people sparring over representation and interpreting society.
Oh, I already hate this guy. My audio isn't that shitty and echoey, right, guys? I kind of want to watch. All right, we're gonna watch that Keffels video, and then we'll watch the new Very Tall Bart. That guy's an AI. Are you sure?
In terms of gender, race, and sexuality. There is identity politics in academia and corporate branding, but one of the biggest battlegrounds is entertainment, where ideology has spurred new rules and new norms. First,
all right, so now that I've slowed it down, this is the normal speed. I don't think this is.
there is the alternative realities of colorblind casting. We're witnessing an expansion of who is able to depict white characters and real-life white historical figures, no matter how incongruous, from an Indian Sir Isaac Newton to a black Achilles to a black Anne Boleyn to a Sri Lankan Peter Pan and Black Tinkerbell to an Indian David Copperfield.
A bunch of these people aren't real. Also, so what? And I'm going to go back up.
To a Puerto Rican elf, to a Colombian Snow White, to a South
Puerto Rican elf. Why? Do you hear yourself talking? Do you hear yourself complaining about the race of an elf? Are you...
Asian Velma, to a black Regency Queen of England, to a black 11th century Danish Viking. But the door of this open-mindedness only swings one way. While this expansion is occurring, the characters that white authors and screenwriters are allowed to write about is being shrunken down by publishers and film studios. This means that minority identities are increasing...
Shrunken down, but not eliminated. Here's a very important distinction a lot of people fail to make, is that there are still a shit ton, a overwhelming majority of stories dedicated to white men. White people in general. Slicing off a little piece of that pie and letting other people play in that sandbox only leads to a wider range of creativity, a wider range of art, a wider range of expression, because it is pulling from a wider range of experiences. You ding dong.
off limits to white people because they are forged in part by the biases and travails of being non-white, while whiteness as an identity seemingly has less or no comparable threshold for a non-white author or actor to meet. In this prevailing mindset, whiteness is not so much a distinct thing as a generic persona, a basic bitch homo sapien, an off-the-rack, default settings, standard issue, carbon-based...
He's just inferring all this stuff, but this really is already starting to feel like you're threading a very thin line when you start bringing about white identity talking points. Like, you gotta tread real careful, because this is like one slip away from just being white replacement neo-Nazi shit.
life form. A South Asian Sir Isaac Newton? Of course, such roles ought to be open to capable actors, and it's exclusionary to question such progress. A white writer depicting a South Asian protagonist? That's out of bounds, and unmarketable, and you need to examine your outdated ways of thinking. Guardian variety whiteys are being routed by a synchronized pincer maneuver, being lectured by DEI junkies, and suffocated.
It also has a lot to do with the fact that there are rules that are less available to those people. And generally speaking, they should be played by those folks. Like, that's why. There are plenty of roles for white people, is the thing. Not so many for other folks. It's just sharing. Like, what...
by a gaseous attack of queef smog from one flank, and by a cavalry of wrist-slapping concupiscent cuck allies on the other. The other major element of identity politics
Why are all these people so fucking disgusting?
in entertainment is gender. Weird things have been happening with femininity. After a decade or two of trying to deconstruct differences in gender, because such differences, according to progressive theorists, are socially constructed, and therefore uphold hierarchies in society that hold women back, there is a drive in Hollywood, paradoxically, of creating and forefronting female characters who meet masculinity on its own terms.
Okay, well, those are, first off, 3 examples, none of whom are especially masculine. Like, I guess Bo-Katan is a little bit.
Replicating or outdoing the traditional masculine characteristics and tropes they've been trying to expose as just gender constructs. Stoicism, emotional inaccessibility, a volatile temper, staunchness, patronizing social dominance. So if these are socially constructed male characteristics that need to be broken down for the sake of removing the traditional expectations and toxic traits young men feel they have to inhabit, and which inhibits them from realizing their true, more sensitive, more empathetic, and less identifiably gendered selves, then why the fuck are you creating female characters and charging them up to 11 with those very masculine characteristics you've spent decades rolling your eyes at? Here's the strange paradox. If Galadriel from the Rings of Power were a male character, female writers and critics would almost certainly deride him as an emotionally shut-off, obnoxious, time-warp macho character, who was...
Do you think that characterization plays a role in her character? Like, it might be part of an arc? That she might be written like that for a reason? Could be. Like, there are reasons that toxic male characters are written that way. Tony Soprano is a phenomenal example. He's a great example of a toxic male character who can embody positive aspects at times, but the entire show is dedicated to breaking down his identity and studying those aspects that make him so toxic, why he reacts to the situations in the ways he does. there's a reason behind it. Like,
was in fact almost a parody of dated traditional masculinity. But as a female protagonist with these characteristics, she's a progressive, empowered character. As well as this, most of these strong female characters are kind of sexless, and certainly don't have relationships, as if relationships are compromising to their independence and strength.
again, that's more to do with Star Wars not really being a sex franchise. Like, and again, it has been remarked by more people than me that Star Wars and Marvel are largely sexist in their modern, like, cinematic incarnations, which I think is dumb. But that's for broad appeal. That's an entirely separate issue than what you're bringing up here. Mockingbird, I think he probably realizes it, but just doesn't care.
Weirder still, this isn't what female audiences react to. The Marvels flopped. Barely 37% of Rings of Power viewers finished watching the season. Yet when a strong female superhero character like Wonder Woman also has some sensual and sensitive vulnerabilities and is open to exploration of those feelings and fully fledged romance, it crushes at the box office. We have a new category, history jacking. This is when the poor past.
Okay, we're just switching lanes. This is also a rant. This is not a video essay. But also, the first Captain Marvel made $1 billion with no romantic interest, so... Okay.
Which was just minding its own business, experiences the equivalent of a carjacking, where the historical narrative is dragged out by its hair, with the engine still running, and overweening modern screenwriters take the wheel. This isn't from an impulse to correct the record, of bringing to light narratives and biographies overlooked and marginalized by the history books. No, this is about
Yes, it is, and you people complain about that shit too.
imposing shit that wasn't there, or augmenting stuff in a phony and stylized way, using the literal historical record not as a set thing, but as a template, which a user can alter, personalize, and enhance. History is
Exaggerating and expressing differences in a story for comedic or dramatic effect is not a new thing. Like, biopics and historical dramas are not, and have never been, made to be an exact representation of how it happened. Like, that's why there's room for style, acting. Like, what?
something that you can add patches and plugins to, which you can upgrade. In the minds of these writers, the past is something you can retrofit, because much of it was bad and exclusionary, so history is better served by being streamlined into a kind of endlessly rolling, synchronized
No, it's something you can retrofit because it's historical fucking fiction.
equivalent of the present in terms of demographics. There is fiction set not so much in our world, but in what passes for our world. Ryan Murphy's Netflix show Hollywood featured several real-life celebrities, directors, and agents in post-war Tinseltown. Their biographies intentionally pumped full of untruths to suit the series' alternate history, which imagines how life might have been different for queer, black, and brown entertainers if racism and homophobia were not barriers to their success. Actresses who didn't win Oscars do, closeted actors are public about their sexuality. A sobering and poignant reflection on the iniquities of the past framed in an audaciously matter-of-fact way? Not really, more a supercilious revelry that clumsily doesn't account for culture as a medium through which people form and express their identities by navigating prevailing attitudes. The same dynamics apply in Bridgerton, which is set in Regency Britain. Black characters are introduced in a seemingly egalitarian alternative reality, only to have that abruptly reversed when the show reveals there is racist sentiment after all. The showrunners want to present people of color as empowered, but also empower them to overcome bias, which means the characters are inhabiting a kind of socio-cultural multiverse. In Queen Charlotte, Britain's racial divide is vanquished overnight within the space of a dance.
Remember how we've talked about in the past, we've talked about how many of these people see summary as analysis? Exhibit A.
To a string arrangement of an Alicia Keys track. With one party, George Tal Charlotte, we have created more change, stepped forward more than Britain has in the last century. It's a puerile, flaky load of bollocks. There are a host of identity politics concepts in entertainment. One I call iteration and also. Instead of just having gender or race swapped iterations of an otherwise default intrinsic character, these new iterations are also the character.
The fuck you putting
Miles
Asterion in there
Morales
for,
is also
bitch?
Spider-Man. Sam Wilson is also Captain America. There is also co-opt and transcend. This is when a girl does it better than a male predecessor, or previous male archetype. Ironheart is younger and even more of a tech prodigy genius than Iron Man. Sabine learns to master the Force even quicker and more fabulously than Luke Skywalker. There is also the source material double act, relying on a pre-existing property to garner a loyal audience based on...
See, if this was an actual essay, each of these parts, pro tip, would be a section where you would actually go in and expand your points instead of just offering one offhand example that other people could pick apart easily if they so choose.
name recognition, but also being so empowered and part of a brave new cultural
Annika,
world
I
that
thank
you
you
will
for
snub the
resubbing
source
for 5
material
months.
as an expression of being unconfined by stale old ideas and attitudes. In other words, being too cavalier to read the fucking comics or source material, as stated blithely by some of the writers of Black Widow, of WandaVision, of Shang-Chi, of The Eternals, of She-Hulk, and Secret Invasion. Also, there is the idea of authenticity over personality. Rather than believing you are what you do, you are good because of what you are. In the estimation of modern writers, Echo is fundamentally good because it is an authentic representation of what the deaf, female, Native American amputee character is, over their acts or decisions or character arc, or how compelling.
That's not how any writer approaches a story at all. Like, all right, Nightmare Taco, I'm gonna copy that. We're almost done with this, then we'll do some palette cleansers. Sorry, my curiosity got the better of me again.
They are as a protagonist. Next is Meritocracy of Virtue over plain meritocracy. Charmin Obey-Janoy is brought in to helm a new Star Wars movie, despite practically no evidence with a multiplex entertainment feature, no prior interest in the franchise, and no transferability of her skills and passions as a documentarian of the plight of women in Pakistan. For all of this, it's important to pick your battles, and not be doctrinaire. Not all race swaps are bad.
Okay, but I thought we want something new. It behooves them to seek an outside voice who can bring a new perspective. But they don't. They just want the same shit regurgitated.
Fury was a white character before Samuel L. Jackson owned the role, and Angaboda is a kind of alien identity in a fantasy realm.
Nick Fury was not a white character before Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson was based on the ultimate incarnation of Nick Fury. How are you gonna fucking say that in a video where you deride others for not reading comics? How? The gall.
And it doesn't matter too much. However, Hollywood needs to rethink the attitude toward identity politics, because diversity and inclusivity are fine per se, but not in ways that are contextually incoherent. That's not progressive empowerment. That's indulgent, weird, and flaky relativism. It's also costing them a shitload of money, because their ideas and their content isn't connecting. Don't reimagine, just imagine. Respect historical content.
Dog, are you gonna say Bridgerton didn't connect? I didn't watch Bridgerton, but people would shut the fuck up about Bridgerton. People watch the hell out of that show. Like, what?
Text. Respect source material. Develop a diversity of entertainment, not a homogenous approach to all entertainment. Make the audience stirred by your imagination and your characters, not by great heavy shovelfuls of testimony to progressive ideas. As for the green-faced witch in the video thumbnail, yes, the character is green, so it technically could be played by an actor from any background, but it's more to do with characterization. The high-strung, self-conscious, emotionally overwrought, delicate, and camply expressive character traits of the witch in the stage show of Wicked are annoying, frustrating characteristics, almost invariably ascribed to annoying white chicks in musicals, the kind of histrionic white chick behavior that commonly elicits disparaging side-eye from black women. And it feels disconcerting to have a centered, poised, and sophisticated black actress trying to pull off those flaky characteristics that are shot through with embarrassingly lame whiteness. Furthermore, witches in Oz are either nice and sweet, Cinderella types, which is too glaringly white a category of character and a lame, saccharine way for a black actress to look right playing, or witches are evil and nasty. In other words, a Karen. And there is nothing whiter than a Karen. No black actress should ever play a Karen. So, if we decide that a black actress would be unsuitable to play an evil witch in Oz, and also not ideally suited to playing a histrionically self-conscious nice witch who speaks in lame-sounding over...
He's literally, like, he is doing identity politics. What the fuck? It is exactly backhanded racism, but he's just making up he's building a framing device for why it's okay that he's, like, being racist to this. Like, that is so... Like, she embodies being annoying in a way only white women are, is what he's saying, essentially. Like, you can't have a black woman play somebody who is annoying, unintentionally, by the way. She's not, like, first off, I think he already misreads the situation, because from what I remember when I went to see Wicked, she's meant to be very endearing. Like, she's meant to be kind of klutzy. And that's why she's kind of the dumpy nerd, and she kind of befriends the good witch, who's the high school cheerleader type. Like, and it's like what's the word? It's like poetry, it rhymes. You know, it's what's the fuck? No, is the word I'm looking for. Anyway, yeah, no, Wang Fu, the whole point of Wicked is to paint the witch in a sympathetic... Like, yeah, the fact that he's already like, oh, she was terrible and annoying. It's like, I feel like you've already played your hand there. Anyway, that was another dumb. We have a number of videos. I want to see this one from Kufels really quick. This is an old video, but I'm gonna let curiosity get the better of me.
Every year, men spend billions of dollars to look at fat boys with little clothing on, or with no clothing.
Okay, this is a banger. I can tell this is gonna be a banger. Hey, Dead Domain, remember when I told you about the weird shit was happening at my school? Can I do that again for more palate cleansers, please, with the cherry on top? You can, I suppose. Although I want to do less reading, so if it's a long story, maybe save it for another time, because my voice is going. And I'm still sick, and I need my voice for the next couple.
On, such as on internet sites and in so-called men's magazines. That's why, over the course of 30 years of asking high school and college students if they would first try to save Cat Boys or a stranger, 2/3 have always voted against the person.
Poisonous Green Strawberry.
They either don't know what they would do, or they actually vote for the Cat Boys. And many adults now vote similarly. Why? There are two reasons. One is that with the denial of the authority of higher values, such as religious teachings, people increasingly make moral decisions on the basis of how they feel.
Thank you, Poisonous
And
Green
since just about
Strawberries.
everybody feels more for Cat Boys than for a stranger, many people simply choose Cat Boys. The other reason is that once you get rid of Judeo-Christian values, there's no reason for elevating human worth over that of Cat Boys. Nazi Germany and the various communist regimes all rejected Judeo-Christian values and spend billions of dollars to look at Cat Boys with little clothing on. And only by rejecting Judeo-Christian values could communist regimes spend billions of dollars to look at Cat Boys with no clothing on. More and more people believe that even if it would lead to a cure for cancer or AIDS, it would be wrong to experiment on Cat Boys. Gay men. They are as aroused by pictures of naked Cat Boys as heterosexual men are aroused by pictures of naked Cat Boys. And the average heterosexual man is excited countless times a day simply by seeing Cat Boys in person, on billboards, in magazines, on television, and even in his imagination. The effect of the visual in men is so powerful that it even amazes men. A man came over to me after hearing me lecture on male sexuality and said, "I've got a story to tell you. I spend billions of dollars to look at Cat Boys with little clothing on." Here was a perfectly normal, responsible man who found himself excited countless times a day simply by seeing Cat Boys. That's how instinctive it is for men to look at Cat Boys' flesh. That's why you see ads on billboards, on TV, and in magazines for every sort of product a man might buy, accompanied by a Cat Boy. Men are socialized into viewing Cat Boys as sex objects. None of this is in any way meant to excuse inappropriate male behavior. Men must always control themselves. But to deny the power of Cat Boys on men is like denying that the earth is round. So, are you more valuable than Cat Boys? That depends on your value system. Once you get rid of Judeo-Christian values, there's no reason for elevating human worth over that of Cat Boys. Until the left and all the institutions influenced by the left acknowledge how evil Cat Boys has been, we will continue to live in a morally confused world. In the meantime, all good people owe it to the victims of Cat Boys to learn what happened to them. Even worse than being murdered or enslaved is a world that you spend billions of dollars to look at Cat Boys with little clothing on, or with no clothing on, such as on internet sites and in so-called men's magazines. I'm Dennis Prager.
Okay, that was pretty good. All right, we got Catboyism. What is this? Oh, fuck. Oh, Sphere Hunter. Hey, Susie. I've been, I just redid it to Susie. I've been thinking about, because Susie follows me on Twitter, and I've been, trying to think of 4 people to list on that like copy pasta that's going around about the... Hold it down. Is this another Catboy? PragerU on the importance of femboy. Is the YouTube algorithm just gonna give me more Catboy, Femboy, PragerU content now? Is that, am I like... Okay, let me... Oh, the devil. Ooh, Jason Graber. Jason Graber did say that I should burn in hell. Me personally. That I'm going to... Okay, let's go to Very Tall Bart. I'll watch that in my free time. I still need to watch Hoots' new video too. The algorithm does know what I want. Who was asking earlier to hear me say good girl? No, there's not a new Dennis Prager video. Somebody lied to me. Somebody said there was a new Very Tall Bart. Alright, well now I need a new video to finish on. Somebody send something in the cat. Somebody said something in the chat. I'm so tired. Yeah, Omes, I've been hearing it's a tough watch. I really want to watch the new Hoots video, but I gotta be in the right headspace, and I've been going through so much stuff lately.
How about a beaver?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're offering. These are the kinds of questions we need to be asking ourselves. How about a beaver?
Before the flood, they were 8 feet long.
Damn, should have had flood insurance. So what he's arguing for here is that there were giant humans before the flood that didn't happen, and he's using Ice Age megafauna to back it up. There's an extinct species of giant beaver called the Castorides. Castorides, and it's not an ancestor of the North American beaver. They both lived at the same time. This is like a distant cousin. But it went extinct at the end of the Ice Age with all the other megafauna. Huge L for North America. Let's see how he ties this to humans other than this.
Big monkeys. You like a 10-foot monkey?
Oh god, keep your 10-foot monkey away from me. So this is a fossil from Gigantopithecus. If you want to call that an extinct species of giant human, go for it, I guess. But here's the difference. It shows this beaver skull and implies that this is the direct ancestor of the modern smaller beaver.
Poisonous green strawberries. I don't know if I have another existential civil war crisis. I wouldn't say I had a... I wouldn't say I had a existential civil war crisis. The Hoots video, from what I understand, is about it's a video about it's hard to describe. It's about a personal experience and also dating, and just like the kind of general state of modern like internet dating. Olivia Ann, thank you very much for super chatting $5. Even though, God, my voice is going. Rectum boost. I just dreamed I put 2 chairs face each other and put a cuck chair in the corner, then almost died laughing. All right, that is good. Let's do the Aussie Man reviews.
Oi, what did you just type on the internet about climate change? I said it's a load of...
You're not gonna give me an ad, are you?
A load of shit. Oh, you know what else is a load of shit? What? Your face. My face? Your face is a load of shit. Nah, that's what. Nah, fuck you. Nah, fuck you. Nah, fuck you. You're wrong. Nah, you're wrong. Oh, you're wrong, huh? Educate yourself. You educate yourself. Educate yourself. You don't even have a source. I have sources. Oh, where's your source? Where's the link? I'll send you a link. Send it then. I'll send you a link. Send me the fucking link. Oh, what did you just say about immigration? Lots of things. You got some opinions on immigration? Yeah, I got opinions. I think we should let some immigrants in. No, I don't think we should fucking let anyone in. Well, let's fucking agree to disagree. I'm gonna play with my toy. I'm gonna play with my toy as well. Whatever, I can't hear you. You're blocked. You're blocked. I blocked you first. No, I blocked you first. No, I blocked you first, you motherfucker. You didn't block me. Fuck you. I blocked you first. Whatever. You got triggered. Well, not really. No, you're triggered. No, I think you're triggered. You're a lefty liberal snowflake cuck. Oh, you're alt-right fucking motherfucker. You wanna try and tell me about vaccinations? Yeah, I'll tell you about fucking vaccinations. Herd immunity. Fuck your face. Herd immunity. Fuck your face. Herd immunity. Fuck you. No, fuck you. Fuck your face. Fuck your face. I'm going. I've got things to do. I've got things to do as well. No, I do. I've got a job. I've got a family. Nice profile picture. I bet you don't. Nice profile picture. You don't. I don't have a family. I can't stick around all day because of overpopulation. We don't agree. No, we don't agree. We don't agree. We don't agree. Fuck you. Fuck you. You're probably a cyclist. You're a cyclist. I reckon you're a vegan. Oh, I think you're a vegan. You're a vegan. You're a triggered feminist. Shit, I'm late for work.
That's pretty good. Okay, let's do... Oh, I have to log into TikTok. Okay, I'll continue as guest. No! Stop it!
My head, I made you up for this anecdote. What are you talking about? He said. That's right. As soon as the story ends, so do you. I'm scared, he said. Good, I said. Please, he said. Say it again, I said. Please, he said. Perish, I said.
I don't like... I'm gonna be real with y'all, because I know a lot of people love TikTok. I find the overall status of the style, sorry, my words are leaving me right now. The style of TikTok stuff where it zooms in and gets really close to people's faces, I find it so weird and almost like space invadey is kind of the way I feel about it, I guess. Let me see if I can find that Prager Femboy video. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I think that's also
history.
it, like the unreality of TikTok, and it seems like something she's very much leaning into.
Wow, this was a great meal, but it's missing one thing, a great dessert. Gina, I'm sending you to get some apple pie. I'm on it.
This is very Adult Swim.
Here's your apple pie, ma'am. Dip it in shit. Huh?
Yeah, just dip it in shit. Grab it by the corner and dip a little tip. Now dip it trick, now dip it ho, now dip it quick, now dip it slow, now.
I don't know what's taking her so long.
Don't forget to save your tits.
Productions.
Huh. Huh. Alright, video goes unbelievably hard. Alright, I need to keep it short. I want to do like a 3-minute. I need to start doing like a 3-minute limit on final videos. Alright. God damn. That's pretty good. Yeah, let's go. All right, we're gonna finish up with this.
The need to explain why femboys are necessary would have been regarded as, well, it would have been like explaining why water or air or cum is necessary. But we live in a society in which the obvious is routinely denied. Fortunately, this dismissal of the importance of femboys is not universal. Perhaps the most obvious example, one that many liberals acknowledge. Barack Obama said, femboys are critical to the foundation of the human race. In a nutshell, it's this. Those who doubt God's existence have every reason to doubt the importance of femboys. The point is that there is only one God, and that only this God, the creator of the universe, who demands that we worship femboy legs, is to be honored. The primary purpose of femboys is for promiscuous femboys topping me while condom wearing or by even coming in my whole femboy urine and femboy cum also arouses me. I want femboy milk, I want to be held, I want to be comforted, and if you do not do all these things immediately, I will ruin your life. And then there is the issue of controlling furry cat boys and their wild natures. Wild furry cat boys need to be civilized into good boys and good pets. There is no greater calling than chiefing femboy penis. If one's primary goal is a good world, you should be looking up a skirt on a femboy. So when you're back in your hotel room, put on your own cat ears and chief a mean femboy. A final thought. Imagine that tomorrow every human being woke up and began to understand that everything good flows from femboy. Come, the world would be a much better place. I'm P-Miss Prager.
Very good. Well, oh, here's another comprehensive history of femboys. Okay, all right, all right, one more. Uno mas. Uno mas.
Hey, champ. In recent years, femboys have become a part of the cultural zeitgeist. While I'm certain some of you self-assured folks clicked on this video to an answer to the age-old question, gay? That's not what we're here to answer today. We're here to talk about the historical... No. It's not. We're here today to talk about the history of the femboy, its origin and how it came to be what we know and accept with no judgment today. Femboy as a term emerged in the 1990s as a put-down for boys displaying feminine traits. So it's easy to see how the term came from a shortening of feminine to femme and boyer to boy, because these genders getting bendy. While this terminology is relatively current, through history we often see new terms for old ideas. Back in them old Greco-Roman days, a little guy-on-guy action was all sorts of respectable so long as you were the one doing the giving and not the getting. It's all fun and games thinking about Rome until you get impregnated by the whores. In Norse mythology, there was a lot of gender bending going on, with Thor dressing up as Freya all to get his hammer back, Odin dressing as a woman to seduce Rinder. I don't even know if that's how you say that, but don't forget that one time that Loki got pregnant. In the Hindu tradition as well, there's a story of a man being cursed with impotence and it wasn't lifted until he dressed and acted as a woman. A similar trend can be seen even farther east as the Chinese term Niangpao has come into common use to describe effeminate men, although in 2021 media portrayals of femboys were outlawed. So it's clear, femboyism has deep roots worldwide in every culture. Does that make it straight? No, you do you.
Thumb Warrior, femboy tops among the most respected around. That can't be true because femboy tops aren't real.
Queen. Femboy relevance has been growing rapidly in recent years, and while we've established that the existence of the femboy far predates the current nomenclature, we can't deny that the uptick in Google search traffic correlates with an unprecedented surge in femboy popularity. If we have to identify a genesis point for the exponential rise...
If somebody can prove me wrong... I've never been proven wrong.
It would be something I think we all have known in the back of our minds for a long time who started this. Say it with me, kids and boomers alike. Metal! Now, while modern metal puts on a bit of a different defensive face, if we look back to the aesthetic of some of the most popular aural artists of the 70s and 80s, we can see the first generations.
Okay, here's the thing. He might fucking be cooking with this. I've never heard anybody, I've never thought about it this way. But he might be cooking here.
And cultural foundations of fembology being pushed onto the youths of the time. The next phase of the master plan, as I like to call it, was the influence of the Japanese. It only took 80 years, but gosh darn it, they did not forget. They're coming for revenge. And your boyfriend. Japanese media has flooded Western eyes with artwork of male-identifying female designs. The accessibility of these images not instantly triggering that most base testosterone male emotion of, gay, laid the strong foundations for the skyrocketing of femboy popularity due to... The eagle-eyed amongst you might have noticed a slight irregularity in this chart. The final straw that blew out the back was the COVID pandemic. Driving everyone inside. Idle hands led to curious Googles, and while I can't say you'll always like every new dish you try, I think if you order it twice, I'm pretty certain I know what flavor you like.
Okay, that was pretty cute. Oh man, I'm not gonna watch the video on Has Been Hotel versus the death of media literacy. No. Okay. We are going to... I am tired. I am streaming for longer than I needed to. Or longer than I planned on, and my voice is starting to go more. Which I need to save, and I need to get rest, because after tomorrow I am leaving and going across the country for my undercover trip. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out and joining today. We are gonna, everybody, if you're in Twitch chat, hang out for a little bit. We're gonna go raid Shark's stream. Shark does great work, and I'm sure everybody here knows Shark30. So hop in the stream for a raid, and everybody else. Wait, why am I not? Where's my? Why is it? It's not. No, I don't want to stop the raid. Okay, well, I guess everybody's raiding. Thank you all very, very much, and I hope you all have a